Chapter 1 Ninja Master System. A giant tree more than 10 meters high stands in the middle of the forest. Not far from here is the famous Konoha Ninja Village in the ninja world. In the surrounding suburbs, there are also scattered wooden houses. Konoha is powerful, but not all Konoha residents can live in the village. Especially war orphans like Gangyi, who are helpless and have no money, naturally cannot live in the safest village. What's more, as a traveler, he doesn't trust anyone until he has enough self-protection ability. Especially the Konoha group. The extreme Uchiha family, the hypocritical 3 generations of Hokage, the sinister and devious Danzo, the arrogant Hyuga family. These people, with Gangyi's current strength, are completely unable to fight. Opening his eyes, Gangyi let out a long breath. Feeling the energy in his body, Gangyi's eyes burst into a gleam of surprise. Is this chakra? Although it is very weak, there is indeed a weak energy flowing in the body. As a time traveler who has watched the Hokage anime in its entirety, Gangyi is very clear that the composition of chakra is a combination of physical energy and spiritual energy. And his current body is only 4 years old, but Gangyi originally possessed the mental power of an adult in his 20s. The benefit brought to him by the huge mental power is the precise control of chakra. After entering the ninja school not long ago, Gangyi successfully obtained the chakra training manual. After careful study, I finally successfully cultivated my own chakra today. This speed should be considered fast. Those children in the same period don't have such a huge mental power as me, and they don't have my efforts, and they practice chakra uninterrupted every day. Gangyi muttered to himself, while also starting to make a long-term plan for his ninja career. He was just a war orphan adopted by Konoha, with no blood, no family strength, let alone any connections. In order to survive in the cruel world of ninjas, he must allow himself to walk on the most correct path and tolerate no mistakes. He knew very well that the so-called war orphans, it seemed that Konoha was supporting himself. But in reality, Konoha village is not a good person. Every time there are thousands of ninjas on the ninja battlefield, not all of them are Jonin, Chunin, family ninjas, blood ninjas. Most of them are medium genin, and there are many cannon fodders in it. Like Gangyi's familiar Hokage character, Kabuto. It is a typical example. War orphans, after being cultivated, become spies, double agents, and even attack the dean who he most respects. And Kabuto was forced to a dead end, and he and the masked man jointly planned the 4 battles that caused a sensation in the ninja world. Gangyi doesn't want to be a spy, and he doesn't want to be a cannon fodder. He must rise to a high position and decide his own life and death. Is it mainly ninjutsu, or demonic illusion, or gymnastics? As for the forbidden technique, Gangyi didn't think much about it. He couldn't get in touch with this kind of existence. Sage art is too difficult to consider at this stage. Just when Gangyi was about to calm down and plan the ninja path, a voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Ding! The host successfully cultivated chakra, and the ninja master system is opened. Start checking the host situation. Age, 4 years old. Ninja rank, haven't reached genin yet. Constitution, 5 points. Mental strength, 30 points. Chakra basic attributes, wind, thunder, water, fire and soil, the strongest attribute, soil. Weapon, none. Mastery value, 0 points. Study master points can be exchanged for mastery skills, or upgrade to mastery rank. Scholar rank, 0. Scholar skills, 0. Current research topics, 0. Mission system ready to open. The novice gift package is ready to be distributed. Gangyi opened his mouth wide and looked surprised. Your own plugin has finally arrived. Chapter 2 Mission. Beat the undead Xiaoqiang. As a traveler, Gangyi naturally thought about golden fingers or plugins. However, in his observation in the past 2 years, he did not have any golden fingers. The only special thing was the huge spiritual power that came with him. After all, he was actually in his 20s. After a simple sigh, Gong Yi wasn't too disappointed. After all, his familiarity with the world of Hokage is his biggest gold finger. He accepted Konoha Shinobi's arrangement step by step. Enter an orphanage, live in a house on the outskirts of Konoha, then study at ninja school, and then maybe Genin graduates and goes to war. In the end, either died on the battlefield, or struggled to make a bloody path, shouting, "My life is up to me." But now that the plug-in has arrived, Gong Yi is a little excited. The Ninja Master System. Come on, explain, what is the Ninja Master System? The voice of the system resounded in his mind again, indifferent and without any emotion. Ninja is also a profession that requires continuous learning. Since it is necessary to learn, there are naturally academic masters. Gong Yi smacked it twice, and he thought of a few characters. Sakura seems to be a ninja at the academic level, purely from the perspective of academic completion. Uchiha Yanzu, no, Uchiha Itachi, can be regarded as a scholar. After all, forbearance, fantasy, body, all kinds of grandmasters, to say that he is not good at learning is a joke. It's not right. Gong Yi shook his head. I'll let you explain, what is the Ninja Master System? The so-called Ninja Master System is to let you solve various problems in the fastest, best and most efficient way when you study the ninja career development path. No, please explain to me, what is the Ninja Master System? Host, what do you want to ask? Gong Yi showed a mouthful of white fang and said with a smile, since it's a golden finger, there must be some benefits. Sorry, there is no free lunch in the world, and it will not provide any benefits to the host. Unless you complete the corresponding tasks, or improve your academic rank. Gong Yi pouted, and after a long time, this is a task distribution center. I thought that with this system, I could turn on the unparalleled mode and beat the Hokage world. Shaking his head, Gong Yi pushed this unearned thought out of his mind. He has never been the kind of person who eats free food. He believes in giving and receiving. This is the fine traditional virtue of Chinese children for thousands of years. Gong Yi stared at the system in his mind, bored for a long time, and carefully reviewed his personal situation. His physique was low as he expected, after all, he was still young. Mental strength of 30 points, comparable to the Jonin level in this world, which is also expected. If he takes the path of chakra fine control in the future, he is actually very good, at least not weaker than a ninja like Haruno Sakura. On the contrary, his basic chakra attributes surprised Gong Yi a little, and he actually had all 5 attributes. Most of the other rare attributes are fused by basic attributes, except for the strongest Mokuden wood style. Terms of setting, although Mokuden wood style is derived from the 2 dramas of water and soil, almost no one can use Mokuden wood style ninjutsu except for the first generation. Subsequent Mokuden wood style ninjas were also transplanted with primary cells. The deepest reason, in Gong Yi's opinion, may be the divine tree that will appear in the Fourth World War in the future. These things are still too far away. As a rookie who has not even reached Genin, Gong Yi pays more attention to other functions of the system. What is the Shuiba rank, and this Shuiba skill? According to the number of research projects successfully completed by the host, the rank of scholar can be improved. The rank is from 1 to 5. The higher the rank, the better the effect of the host's follow-up research. The rank of scholar restricts the upper limit of the number of skills of the master. The first order can have 3 academic master skills, and the current number of host skills is 0. Student master skills come from the number of tasks completed by the host, and the rewards given by this system. Every master skills are extremely precious, please use them with caution. Gong Yi was thinking, and just as he was thinking, the system made a sound again. The preparatory work for the mission system is over, and it is now open. Main quest, become the god of the ninja world. Side quest, Shaoqiang who can't be killed. Unkillable Shaoqiang mission description. The body is the capital of the revolution. The process of developing a scholar will be full of surprises, and an excellent physique can give the host the greatest support. So please make the host work hard to improve your physical fitness, so that you can start to use this system to the fullest. Ask the host to complete 1,000 push-ups, 500 sit-ups, and 30,000-meter long-distance running every day. Gong Yi opened his mouth, and there was a glint in his eyes. After some understanding of the system, he probably understood something. The reason why the Ninja Master system has only been opened now should be the reason why he cultivated chakra by himself. If you want to learn about the ninja profession, chakra will undoubtedly be the foundation of the foundation. In order to make full use of this system, huge mental power and excellent physical quality are also the elements that constitute the stability triangle. Thinking of this, Gong Yi was less afraid of the terrifying amount of training Xiaoqiang's mission had. Instead, he began to look forward to it. Physical fitness training can play a very good role in improving physical fitness. In the early days of ninja, the restriction of the amount of chakra, resulting in high damage ninjutsu, cannot be released frequently. Then taijutsu will decide the outcome of a battle. Third chapter Novice Gift Pack. Kakashi, let's go to practice. Don't go. The hot-blooded youth has just begun. Instead of sitting here blowing the cold wind, why not go down and run 10,000 meters? Sitting on the high wall, Kakashi's mouth twitched, and the melon-haired Might Guy next to him, wearing a green tights, is really annoying. Might Guy scratched his head when he saw that he couldn't talk to his classmates. Kakashi is a gifted student at this ninja school. Guy wants to beat him in practice, but Kakashi doesn't accept his invitation at all. White Kiba teeth, Might Guy yelled, are you worried about Lord White Fang? Hatake Sakumo, Kakashi's father, is known as the Konoha White Fang above Sanin. In the past 6 months, I have been under the pressure of huge fishing reels. During an extremely secret mission, Hatake Sakumo, who infiltrated the enemy camp as the captain, was forced to make a dilemma, carry out the mission or save his companions. According to the regulations, it is strictly forbidden to give up the mission, but he gave up the mission to save the life of his companions, and the ninja in the village blamed him for the loss of the village. If these are all good, but just 2 days ago, even the companions who were rescued by him came forward to accuse Hatake Sakumo. This made Konoha White Fang very uncomfortable. As the son of White Fang, Kakashi is very concerned about his father's condition and is very worried. Glancing at Might Guy, Kakashi clenched his fists, but said nothing. Just as the two of them were sitting on the wall, shaking their legs, a burst of hurried footsteps sounded from the end of the street. A boy with white lips and teeth and a resolute face ran past them with heavy legs, rolling up a cloud of sand. Looking at him condescendingly, Might Guy's eyes lit up. Isn't this Gong Yi? Kakashi glanced at him, his expression unwavering. He's been working hard on himself recently and this is the 3rd time I've seen him run from here. Hearing Kakashi say this, Might Guy was overjoyed. Gong Yi, who is in the same class as him, is also a hard worker. Since you don't accompany me to exercise, then I'll go to Gong Yi. Might Guy jumped off the high wall and followed in Gong Yi's footsteps. 1,000 meters, 500 meters, 100 meters, it's finally here. Gong Yi dragged his heavy steps and breathed a sigh of relief. Today's 30,000-meter long-distance running exercise is finally over, and he is very tired. Might Guy's loud voice sounded behind him. Gong Yi, are you not running? Come on, hold on. Youth has just begun, how can you stop here? Seeing Might Guy's passionate look, Gong Yi's face was expressionless. How did he know that he had already run 30,000 meters, circled around Konoha village, and even did 500 sit-ups and 1,000 push-ups? Guy, go ahead, I'm home. Why are you as cold as Kakashi? Gong Yi shook his head, and without explaining anything, walked through the Konoha gate and walked slowly to where he lived. He and Kakashi's coldness are completely different. Kakashi, are Asuma and Kurenai Yuhi of the same class, they are all born in the Konoha wealthy family, family ninjas, with their own natural arrogance. And Gong Yi, his ruthlessness, is only to protect himself, not to let outsiders approach easily, so as to prevent himself from being probed into the details. At a security location outside Konoha village, the three ninjas watched the little child walk alone to the gathering place outside the village, discussing with words. That kid named Gong Yi is a war orphan, right? He's working hard. I heard that Kinoshita Ryota was brought back from the grassy village, but unfortunately Ryota passed away during the last mission. The three ninjas fell silent when they mentioned the names of their familiar companions. Sadness instantly filled several people. The ninja world is too cruel. The companions who drank and ate barbecue together yesterday may die in the mission tomorrow. They just finished some tasks recently. After the vacation, the village watched them work hard, and they only arranged the light task of guarding the village by guarding the village. Someone suddenly said, "This child has been exercising too hard recently. He is still so young, and his body may not be able to take it." The so-called poor people are rich in martial arts. Since ancient times, in order to get out of the way in physical exercise, in addition to talent, strong resource support is also essential. For example, some ninjas cultivated by families, when they were young, in addition to learning the necessary knowledge of ninjutsu, there are special people in the training of taijutsu. In addition, from time to time, there is the support of medicinal soup and medical ninjutsu, and the fear is that the body will be broken. He's just an orphan. If he doesn't work hard, after he graduates from the ninja school, he will perform a mission or send him to the battlefield. At that time, he can only wait to die. Shish, don't mention war. I don't like war. Who likes it? But the situation in the village has become more and more tense recently, and Sunagakur village has been doing things all the time. The three chatted, from an orphan, to national affairs, and later, Gong Yi was gradually forgotten by them. Like these adults, Gong Yi is naturally aware that the scarcity of logistical resources is his biggest shortcoming in order to perform a crushing exercise. He doesn't have so many resources to condition his body, and such a huge amount of training comes down. Even in the energy-filled world of Hokage, his body couldn't take it. However, after the first workout, Gong Yi let go of his worries. Ninja Master System, a novice gift package is issued. Master Skills, All-Round Recovery Technique Experience Card. Validity, 1 year. Chapter 4 Restoration. All-Round Recovery, a low-level scholar skill that can effectively restore physical fatigue damage, mental overdraft, and chakra deficit. Note that it does not solve physical wounds, deep wounds. If you want to improve the recovery technique, you can upgrade it to the Intermediate Master Skill Healing Technique after mastering a lot of medical skills. A green light invisible to the naked eye swept through his body, and Gong Yi couldn't help groaning comfortably. Because of the spirit of learning ninja knowledge overdraft during the day, and the physical fatigue after high-intensity exercise, I recovered instantly. At this moment, I am full of energy and full of energy. Although the use of the restoration technique is only for a short period of 1 year, there is no limit to the number of times it can be used per day. After the recovery, Gong Yi walked out of the house and entered the huge forest. Taking into account the existence of the system, his ninja career plan was reworked. School, learn unfamiliar ninja knowledge. Exercise after class to lay a solid foundation for future research and chakra extraction. Gong Yi, who was resurrected with full blood, plans to practice more. Relying on the system alone, it is difficult for him to complete the main quest and become the god of the ninja world. And the experience time of recovery technique is only 1 year. He must seize this opportunity to lay the best foundation for himself. The only ninjutsu that can be learned at present is the three-body ninjutsu, and this is all the ninjutsu that all civilian ninjas can learn in school. Gong Yi's eyes darkened. He knew very well that it was very cruel. Civilian ninjas have no blood, no resources, and the amount of chakra is too small. In the early stage, they could not calmly release high-damage ninjutsu and demonic illusion. Rather than teaching commoner ninjas the advanced knowledge of ninjutsu, it is better to teach only the three body arts. At least in the task of obtaining intelligence, the three-body technique can play a very good role. Once on the battlefield, low-level ninjas mainly rely on kunai, shuriken, and short swords to cause damage. Actually, cannon fodder. Gongyi currently has no choice but to practice the three-body technique to ultimate. If it can reach the point of instant three-body technique, at least in terms of life-saving ability, it can be greatly improved. Gongyi knows that at the beginning of the Hokage story, make good use of the three-body technique and physical technique, and in the middle genin stage, it can also be rampant for 1 or 2. Hand seal with both hands. A clone appeared beside him, looking at someone who was exactly like him. Gongyi nodded slightly. For now, the master of his three-body technique has already walked in front of the ninjas of the same period. However, due to the restriction of the amount of chakra, he cannot separate more clones. Thinking of this, Gongyi somewhat envied the multiple shadow clone of the future Naruto master. That is simply the bug-level ninjutsu in the Hokage world, and giving him a forbidden technique level is still underestimated. Don't look at Naruto relying on various balls to conquer the world in the later stage, but in fact, he relies on multiple shadow clone techniques. This thing can not only assist cultivation, but also provide people with the greatest range of tactical considerations in battle. Confuse the enemy, induce the enemy, cooperate with the attack, resist damage, and even detect intelligence, human C tactics, etc. It can be said that Naruto's ability to reach that level is inseparable from the fact that he obtained multiple shadow clone techniques at the beginning of the plot. After Gongyi was envious, he calmed down. He can't get all of this. Uzumaki bloodline, Cubite Nine Tails, chakra, multiple shadow clone, have nothing to do with him. All he can do now is to rely on low-level academic master skills and recovery techniques to lay the best foundation for himself. The three-body technique has been practiced in an hour, and the body skills practice will start now. Gongyi was refreshed, and the previous physical exercise was only to improve his physical attributes. But people with the same physical attributes will not be exactly the same in battle. This is related to the skills of the master. Gongyi planned a way of practicing Teishu for himself. As a young man in the 21st century who has received an unparalleled amount of film and television knowledge, Gongyi has never obtained any martial arts secrets. But he knew a word. The world's martial arts, invincible. Only do not break. Strength, speed, reaching ultimate, is invincible. With every punch on the tree, Gongyi strives to concentrate his strength on one point. Every kick is like an afterimage, and the speed must be extremely fast. And after practicing with fists and feet, Gongyi tried to use his shoulders, elbows, back, and even his head to hit the tree hard. All he needs to do is to make his whole body, every part, turn into his weapon. As for the fatigue caused by the cultivation process, there is a recovery technique that can help to eliminate it. He didn't pay attention to some small injuries. He knew that at first, he would definitely not be a big fat man in one bite. Everything just needs to be carried out step by step and gradually deepen the training intensity. For example, elbowing a big tree, it is only a slight collision in the initial stage. After the body adapts, increase the intensity and let the body gradually adapt to the process. By the time all these workouts were completed, it was late at night. Sky was bright with stars. Gongyi lay on the cold ground like a dust, looking up at the sky. He was very tired because he didn't use the recovery technique for the first time. But he was happy that he could feel the signs of his body getting stronger. Just keep exercising. Gongyi believes that he will not be left behind. In the process of performing the task, he can also hope to save his life a little more. However, Gongyi is very clear that these are just the foundation of the foundation. To make himself reach the peak, he still needs more means. Ninjutsu. He needs more ninjutsu. Only a wide variety of ninjutsu can support his combat tactical design. Chapter 5 Genius Civilian Ninja. Why is Kakashi called Hatake 55? Can he fight a few tricks with anyone, from the beginning to the end of the Hokage plot, whether it is a boss or a passerby? Can he be invincible? Reason is that his master has too many ninjutsu skills, and he can design different tactics to deal with the enemy. The title of copy ninja is not for nothing. And as a traveler, Gong Yi is very clear about the importance of whole cards. If you don't have 2 whole cards and few big moves, how can you deal with the endless stream of enemies in the future? The effect of the recovery technique is to effectively restore physical fatigue damage, mental overdraft, and chakra deficit. Physical exercise. Physical exercise. Borrowing is the first effect. Restoring your spirit allows you to devote yourself to training full of energy. The chakra can be restored. Gong Yi has not used it effectively enough. The reason is very simple. Except for the 3-body technique, he does not have much ninjutsu to practice, and the loss of chakra is not as big as he imagined. Gong Yi rolled over and got up. Tomorrow is the time to find teacher Ishii. Ishigawa, the excellent Chunin of Konoha, was transferred to the ninja school by the 3 generations of Hokage after performing some tasks and became a school teacher in peacetime. Looking at the sincere student in front of him, Ishikawa couldn't help sighing. Gong Yi, I know you work very hard, but learning ninjutsu is not something you can touch at your age. Perhaps because he was afraid of hitting his students, Ishikawa gave his own explanation. The age is too young, the body is not fully developed, and the lack of physical and mental energy results in too little chakra. It is not enough to support the release of even C-level ninjutsu. Gong Yi didn't refute him, just listened quietly. Because he knew very well that what Ishikawa said was correct. However, this is only for ordinary people. Gong Yi's eyes brightened. Ishii-sensei, you know very well that I'm just a war orphan, a civilian ninja. Once the ninja school class is over, I'll be sent out on a mission to support myself. I need some ninjutsu to make sure. Own safety. Quote. Ishikawa frowned. Of course he knew. In fact, he is also a civilian ninja, and naturally knows the preciousness of ninjutsu. According to common sense, the ninjutsu of the major ninja villages are kept secret, and even low-level ninjutsu will not be taught to others at will. Generally speaking, ninjutsu is taught through family ninjas and mentoring. In addition, through the completion of the task, the village rewards some ninjutsu. As the most outstanding civilian ninja in this class at the Konoha Ninja School, Gong Yi has a pretty good relationship with him. Usually Gong Yi also comes to ask him some ninja knowledge. In a sense, Ishikawa and Gong Yi did not have the name of master and apprentice, but they already had the reality of master and apprentice. It is no longer just a simple relationship between a school teacher and a student. Probably this is the reason why Gong Yi came to find him today. He trusts himself very much. In order not to attack Gong Yi, Ishigawa thought about it and said, if you can practice the 3-body technique to the point where you can release it easily, I will teach you a C-rank ninjutsu. Don't underestimate the C-level ninjutsu. The division of the level is only because of the destructive power and damage. It does not mean that the A-level ninjutsu is necessarily stronger than the D-level. It depends on the conditions and timing of use. Gong Yi certainly understands this truth. After Impure World Reincarnation's resurrection, Uchiha Itachi defeated Nagato through simple shuriken techniques, which fundamentally eliminated the advantage of Pain 6 paths, vision sharing. Slight smile, Gong Yi's extremely fast hand seal. Ishii-sensei, is it okay to release the 3-body technique easily? A clone identical to Gong Yi appeared in front of Ishikawa, very fast, and then the clone disappeared, and Gong Yi turned into another Ishikawa. In an instant, the clone technique and transformation technique were released. It's not over yet. Just when Ishikawa wanted to speak, Ishikawa, who had transformed into Gong Yi, suddenly turned into a piece of wood. And Gong Yi has appeared in another corner of the office. This release speed is already genin level. Genius. Ishikawa opened his mouth wide, his face full of surprise. In fact, the assessment of genin is just 3 body skills and some basic knowledge of ninjas. Gong Yi at this moment is fully capable of genin, and can even consider graduating early. And all of this is just 2 months after Gong Yi entered the ninja school. Thinking of this, Ishikawa suddenly understood why Gong Yi was eager to learn ninjutsu. My own student has reached the bottleneck in a short period of time. Next, if you want to go further, you can only develop the road of ninjutsu. Teacher, what do you think? Ishikawa looked relieved and asked suddenly, how many chakras do you have left? Proficient in releasing the three-body technique is a point, and the number of chakras is another problem. Even for the most basic C-level ninjutsu, the amount of chakra required is a terrifying value for civilian ninjas. Often civilian ninjas have to grow into their teens and mature physically and mentally before they can fully use chakra to release ninjutsu. Gong Yi naturally knows this. Chakra is the product of the fusion of physical energy and spiritual energy. And his high-intensity exercise for more than a month, his body is no weaker than that of an 11 or 12-year-old, and his physique attribute has risen from the initial 5 points to 12 points. The spiritual attribute is as high as 31, which is a little more than before. That is to say, the amount of chakra he can produce at this stage is completely comparable to ordinary genin, even close to chunin. Teacher, I still have 80% of my chakra left. Ishikawa's eyes widened, and his eyes subconsciously fell on Gong Yi's sturdy arm. He murmured, is there still so much chakra left? That's enough to release 2C rank ninjutsu. But after a while, Ishikawa said solemnly, the use of the three-body technique is not only in normal times, but the most important thing is the application in battle. In order to ensure your foundation, I will give it to you after today's actual combat class is over. Reply. Gong Yi felt no pressure. Okay, I'm looking forward to today's practical training too. Ishikawa couldn't help but said, if you lose the actual battle, don't be afraid. I won't lose. Even if I arrange for Kakashi to play against you. There was a gleam of confidence in Gong Yi's eyes. I just need someone to verify my strength. P.S. The new book is released, because the writing is about upgrading, growth and research, so the previous results are difficult to be as popular as those books full of gimmicks. In this way, in terms of data, we can only rely on everyone's support. Flowers, evaluation votes are very important, and everyone's comments are also welcome. You can spray or praise. To reward this kind of thing, it depends on the brothers who can't afford it. Chapter 6 Konoha's Future. It's a pity that Ishikawa did not arrange for Kakashi and Gong Yi to practice against each other. Ishikawa is an experienced Konoha excellent chunin, and also a good teacher to teach students. He knows how important self-confidence is for children. Kakashi is the proud son of Lord White Fang. He was born in a wealthy Konoha family. As soon as he entered the ninja school, he was known as a genius. He's the head of the academy. I practiced chakra in just a few days. And Gong Yi is just a war orphan, raised in an orphanage, a civilian ninja. Although Gong Yi is also a genius, Ishikawa does not compare him with Kakashi. He was afraid that Gong Yi's loss to Kakashi would affect Gong Yi's self-confidence. However, Gong Yi was too loud before. Originally, Ishikawa only wanted to arrange a civilian ninja student for him. At this moment, he couldn't help but want Gong Yi to accept a battle with the family's children. Genius must accept trials and setbacks. Most of the geniuses who have a smooth journey will die in the middle of it. On the playground, seeing Gong Yi and Ishii Chuan coming out of the teaching building together, a group of waiting students also put aside their thoughts of joking. This is the first actual combat training class since I entered school, and everyone is looking forward to it. Why does Gong Yi stick to Ishii-sensei all day long? Asuma murmured, looking at Gong Yi in an unhappy way. Ebisi, who was beside him, also echoed, that's right, I wanted to ask the teacher a question, but I was blocked by Gong Yi. This guy is really annoying, and he has problems all day long. Asuma looked at Gong Yi even worse. Gong Yi didn't care much about these classmates in the same class. He knew very well that these were just children's desire for favor. Just like when they were in elementary school in Washa, the students got more attention and love by getting closer to the teacher. But Gong Yi is not to compete for favor, to show off. He really has a lot of problems and needs a good chunin like Ishigawa to guide him. Only with full knowledge of ninjas can he survive the mission after graduation. He is there for survival, not for children's favor. As the first actual combat training class of this ninja school, not only the students are looking forward to it, but some parents of the students also pay attention to it. However, due to the closure of the school gate, not many people can watch it in real time, and most people can only ask their children after school. Of course, there is one exception. Sarutobi Hiruzen. The third generation of Hokage in Konoha Ninja Village, known as the existence of shinobi and doctor of ninjutsu. As Asuma's father, although the third generation is cold on the surface, secretly, he is actually very concerned about his son. I heard that today is the first practical class. After the three generations finished their official duties, they also took time to come to the top floor of the school's teaching building. He is also the headmaster of the ninja school in name, and naturally has the right to come in. With the ninja's good eyesight, he could see the group of children on the playground clearly from a distance. It's all Konoha's future. A school teacher next to him echoed, Master Hokage, this group of children are very good. Asuma, Kurenai Yuhi, Moonlight Hayate, Shiranui Genma are all excellent ninja seedlings. The teacher knew how to speak very well, so he didn't praise Asuma because he was Lord Hokage's own son. Instead, he pulled other people together, not awkward, but made the three generations listen very comfortably. Sandai nodded and took a puff of cigarette. For good seedlings, we should create the best environment for them to grow up. Fortunately, the village is still very peaceful. If it was like Sengoku and World War II, they might have already gone to the battlefield. Teacher Chunin, who had spoken before, was stunned. A 5 or 6-year-old child goes to the battlefield. Third generation glanced at him with sad eyes. War never cares whether you are a child or an adult. My brother of the same family, who is only 6 years old, died in World War II. With a sigh, the three generations waved their hands. Forget it, let's not talk about that. Which child is the best performer this year? Mr. Chunin said happily. Hitaki Kakashi, as the son of Lord White Fang, he has not sullied the name. It is no surprise that this year's chief student is him. However, upon hearing this, a gloom flashed in the depths of Sandai's eyes. Konoha White Fang, the existence above his three disciples. Is his son so good too? Lord Hokage, the battle has begun. Oh, is Asuma the first one? Ishikawa was holding the roll, but his eyes fell on the group of students in front of him. The first battle, Gong Yi against Wei. When Ishigawa-sensei turned his gaze to his side, Asuma pulled Ebisi away and stepped forward. Teacher, let me compete with Gong Yi. Ishigawa was silent. This is the second son of the three generations of Hokage adults. In a sense, the family background is deeper than that of Kakashi. He hesitated. However, just when he hesitated, Gong Yi stepped forward. Please advise. Ishikawa sighed, let's make the seal of opposition first. Please. Please. Chapter 7 Desperate Asuma. Soon as the seal of opposition fell, Asuma took the lead. The fist waved directly. As the son of Hokage, he has lived a prosperous life since he was a child. Needless to say, his physique is much stronger than his peers. With just this punch, many students watching the battle began to exclaim. Asuma is so fast. With such a thick fist, I'm afraid that Gong Yi will be hit, so he has to lie on the ground. Off the court didn't affect Gong Yi at all. He stretched out his palm, directly resisted Asuma, took advantage of the trend, and kicked his left foot sharply. Asuma was a little stunned. This thin classmate is no less powerful than himself. He didn't know that this was the reason why Gong Yi kept the 3 points. Today's duel, Gangyi needs to let Mr. Ishikawa see his three-body technique and the use of chakra in the duel. If you can defeat your opponent with taijutsu alone, Ishikawa will definitely not teach him ninjutsu easily. Therefore, Gangyi has to spare some strength so that he can perform well in the follow-up battles. It can be said that from the beginning of the battle, the dominance of this duel has already fallen into the hands of Gangyi. After initial consternation, Asuma also stretched out his foot to block Gangyi, then turned and kicked sideways. Gangyi competed against each other, punching and kicking for a while, and the fight was very lively. Asuma is doing really well. He is close to Genin in terms of physical skills. The teaching building, Mr. Chunin was flattering. Third generation nodded, but praised, the kid who played against Asuma is also very good, not in a hurry. By the way, what's his name? Not very clear, sorry. It's not your fault. After all, there are so many students in the school, and you can't possibly know all of them. But what the school teaches is not just the use of the body. Let's continue to see it. Seeing that he couldn't take Gangyi for a long time, Asuma got anxious, took out the kunai in his bag, and shot the opponent. Of course, this is a kunai made of wood. After all, it is not good for junior students to fight against damage. But even if it is made of wood, if it hits the vital part, the teacher will decide the winner. Puff. Kunai shot Gangyi's body, still in the thigh. Asuma wins. Gangyi was shot in the thigh and couldn't move, indeed Asuma won. No. Boom. A sound, Gangyi, who had just been shot, suddenly turned into a piece of wood, and everyone around could not help but be shocked. Is this a substitute technique? Gangyi actually practiced chakra. What's the matter? I didn't practice chakra a few days ago. But he's also learned the avatar technique. Looking at this scene, Ishikawa couldn't help nodding, and when his body was about to be damaged, he quickly used the substitute technique. Gangyi's response to the battle was still very fast, and the release of ninjutsu was also very reasonable. He has already decided that, regardless of whether this duel is won or not, he will instruct Gangyi to learn C-rank ninjutsu. After all, this is a genius who can fight back and forth with Lord Hokage's son. Sarutobi Asuma froze for a moment, then turned his eyes sharply, preparing to find out the true identity of Gangyi. I'm here. A soft drink, Gangyi suddenly appeared behind Asuma and punched. After the hit, Asuma also turned into a piece of wood. You can do doubles, and so can I. Asuma, who appeared on the side, smiled proudly, then took the kunai and rushed up to continue the fight with Gangyi. For the lower grades, Gangyi and Asuma's match is quite exciting. There was a lot of fights, even Chunin teacher Ishikawa thought so. But from the perspective of the three generations in the distance, this is not the case. Asuma lost. The person next to him looked puzzled. Why did you lose? Isn't this Asuma gaining the upper hand? Hey, Lord Hokage, look, Asuma punched the child again. I think Ishii-sensei can stop it. Third generation of Hokage shook his head without saying a word, and his eyes were even more puzzled. The technique of shadow clone, where did this child learn it? No, this is not the technique of shadow clone, he is the chakra of conduction. Gangyi was lying on the butt of a large branch on the playground, completely obscured by the dense foliage, while watching the battle below with interest. Asuma was fighting back and forth with his avatar, and even suppressed his avatar in the scene. Yes, that's right. As the three generations guessed, Gangyi used the avatar technique one after another after using the avatar technique for the first time. Shadow clone technique that can share a quarter of his chakra. Although it is not comparable to multiple shadow clone techniques, there is only one shadow clone, but it can inherit its own combat experience. This was when Gangyi was training the three-body technique on a daily basis. Gangyi had a whim, why not try to make the clone technique evolve into shadow clone? Technique in the shadow clone technique is actually not that big. A single blow can be destroyed, only to confuse. but the other can fight the enemy, so that he can do other things calmly. The key is that the clone of the clone cannot carry chakra, while shadow clone can carry chakra. Relying on the existence of the low-level academic master skill recovery technique, Gong Yi spent a lot of chakra, constantly experimented and deduced. Finally figured out a way. First use the avatar technique to separate one, and then deliver chakra to the avatar, so as to maintain the existence of this avatar and make actions. Compared with the genuine shadow clone technique, the shadow clone technique that can be separated instantly and take away half of the chakra of the main body. Gong Yi is just a copycat version, and the upper limit of chakra can only carry a quarter of the chakra, and even a quarter of the body's chakra will be lost in the process. Not to mention the delay in the intermediate delivery process. Through a lot of practice, Gong Yi has shortened the time considerably, but it also takes a little time. On the battlefield, Gong Yi did not dare to use it at all, and an experienced enemy would not give him this chance. But for a child like Asuma, he doesn't have to worry. After using the avatar technique just now, Gong Yi jumped onto the big tree, and split a chakra-equipped avatar to fight in his place. Asuma looked at the shaky Gong Yi with a smug smile on his face. How about you practice chakra? Not as much as me. How about you use doubles? Me too. You're not as good as me in physical art. Give me the next punch and get down. Asuma meditated silently, then roared loudly and punched Gong Yi, causing Gong Yi to fall directly. There was a roar from all around. Asuma is amazing. As expected of Lord Hokage's son. Ishikawa frowned and watched this scene, feeling a little distressed for Gong Yi, who had already performed well. If you change the opponent, a commoner ninja, even a child from a small family, Gong Yi can win. Shaking his head, Ishikawa sighed, this is a blow, but also a test. I hope Gong Yi can understand the reality and don't be too ambitious. I declare that Asuma wins. Wait. In shock, Gong Yi jumped down from the tree and smiled lazily. I didn't lose, Asuma, let's move on. Asuma opened his mouth wide, looked at Gong Yi, and then looked down at his feet. Bang! Gong Yi, who was knocked down before, was gone after a cloud of white air. Clone. Gong Yi smiled and said, you are very good, you can defeat a clone with a quarter of my strength. Now I accept your challenge again. What a joke. Asuma was panting, sweating profusely, and his hands and feet were already shaking. Is it just a clone that he tried his best to defeat? It is only a clone with a quarter of strength. This is so desperate. P.S. Woohoo, brothers, the evaluation tickets and flowers are too miserable, come on. 5 updates a day in the new book period is not a dream, the better the data, the more I will try my best. The 8th chapter of Hokage's Gas 3rd more. Without much effort, Gong Yi knocked down Asuma quickly and sharply after showing the skillful use of clone and avatar techniques. His physique is as high as 12 points, far higher than these children with an average of 4 or 5 points. Even if Asuma had eaten well and drank well, his physique was only 7 or 8. And Gong Yi's physical training is called a desperate effort. The pursuit is power and speed. It was almost a punch, and the tired Asuma lay on the ground. When the sharp punch hit the chest, Asuma was desperate again. He clearly felt that even if he was in his prime, he might not be able to escape this punch. From the ground, Asuma bit Kiba and gnashed his teeth. In the beginning, why didn't you fight me with all your strength? Why are you using the clone technique to play tricks on me? Gong Yi raised his eyelids. You are just a way for me to test the results of my recent practice. It just so happens that Ishii-sensei wants to test my 3-body technique. It's that simple. Asuma was startled. Am I just a way for him to test the results of his practice? The other students were also stunned. Is Gong Yi already this strong? Kurenai Yuhi stood with Nohara Rin, staring at the scene. Kurenai Yuhi exclaimed, Gong Yi is so strong. Nohara Rin looked at Gong Yi and then at Kakashi. I don't know if he's as good as Kakashi. Just when everyone was silent, Ishikawa stood up. A momentary failure is nothing. Gong Yi's hard work during this period of time has been seen by you all. Except for Guy, no one else has worked hard. Every semester, there are many practical training courses. Asuma, you have a chance to win it back in the future. Now, the two sides sealed a seal of reconciliation. Asuma stayed where he was, head bowed, hands clasped. Ishikawa frowned. Asuma, this is the school, you are classmates, and in the future, you will be partners on the battlefield and missions. When the teacher said this, everyone else started to talk about it. Yes, they are classmates, not enemies. The stronger the partner, the easier it is to survive in the mission in the future, which is actually a good thing. Of course, the children's desire to win has also begun to permeate. Gong Yi is just a commoner, what he can do, we can do too. Gong Yi watched this scene, grinned at the corners of his mouth, made a seal of reconciliation with the stiff Asuma, and then stepped aside. What he is looking forward to now is that after school, Ishikawa will guide him in ninjutsu. While he was resting, a white-haired boy stood in front of him. You are strong. Is it Kakashi? Gong Yi looked at the young man in front of him and smiled slightly. It's okay, you're not too bad. Kakashi said with a cold face, but what you said just now was too humiliating to Asuma. Gong Yi raised his brows. If he thinks it's humiliation, then his future achievements can only be like this. If he thinks it's an inspiration, maybe he can go to a higher level. You know, his father is Lord Hokage. Kakashi was stunned, not knowing what to say for a while. In the end, he choked out a word. Next time, I will practice against you. After speaking, he raised his head and left proudly. And behind him, was Uchiha Obito, who was yelling. Kakashi, your opponent is me. Kakashi, you pretend you can't see me again, I'll go to the teacher later. In this class, the two of us practice against each other. This actual combat training class lasted from the morning to the afternoon. Among them, the quickest one was Kakashi's three-stroke solution to Uchiha Obito. The title of the strongest at the same level has gradually become solid. But it was Gong Yi and Sarutobi Asuma who caused the most discussions. When they didn't receive too much ninja knowledge, ordinary children didn't know much about the subtle tactical design in Gong Yi's battle. But they could see that from the beginning to the end, Asuma was played around by Gong Yi, and finally was knocked down with a punch. I don't care what other people say about me, and I don't care about the envious, provocative, and curious eyes of others after school. Gong Yi stood at the door of the office, waiting for Ishikawa with a calm expression. It's just that the waiting time was a bit long, which made Gong Yi frown slightly. Sorry, Gong Yi, it's been a long wait. Ishikawa walked out of the office a little tired and smiled at Gong Yi. It didn't take long. Ishikawa shook his head. You child, mature like a little adult, let's go. Ishikawa had promised to teach Gong Yi ninjutsu before, and the time was set after school. Walking on the dirt road in the village, although Ishikawa was chatting with Gong Yi with a smile, there was still a look of worry in his eyebrows. Suddenly, he stopped. Gong Yi, did you know that 3 generations of Lord Hokage are also at school today? Gong Yi was startled, then calmly said, oh. Seeing that Gong Yi didn't show that kind of admiration to Lord Hokage, nor did he have any thoughts of asking curiously, Ishikawa rubbed his forehead. The scene where you beat Asuma today, Lord Hokage saw. You could have beaten Asuma that way without the choice. Gong Yi put his hands in Kabuto and said lightly, Asuma is too weak, I can only do that if I want to show the 3-body technique in front of you. But he's Lord Hokage's son. Gong Yi suddenly raised his head and looked up at Ishikawa. Teacher, are you worried that I will be hated by Lord Hokage? You think too much, Hokage-sama still has the power. Ishikawa froze in place, and took a long sigh of embarrassment. He positioned the identity of Sarutobi Hiruzen on Asuma's father alone. But in addition to this, Sarutobi Hiruzen is the Hokage of Konoha village. In a sense, all the children of Konoha village can be said to be his children. He's Hokage, and he's more powerful than he thought. It's me who is worrying. Let's go, find a quiet place, I'll teach you your first ninjutsu, and it's my best ninjutsu. Gong Yi nodded, a little bit of anticipation in his heart. Chapter 9 Super Fast Progress. Doden, Earth Style. Dirt Wall. 3 thick earth walls suddenly rose from the ground, protecting Ishikawa and Gong Yi inside. Even though he had already learned the 3-body technique and even developed a copycat version of shadow clone technique, Gong Yi was still amazed to see this ninjutsu that created a wall of dirt out of thin air. Is this the power of ninjutsu? Gong Yi has no doubt that relying on these 3 earth walls, he can withstand the sudden attack of the enemy. I punched the earth wall, and its solid thickness declared its excellent protective performance. Facing Gong Yi's surprise, Ishikawa also smiled. For a long time, Gong Yi, who was calm and indifferent, rarely showed extra expressions, and even made people think that he was mature like an adult. Gong Yi's surprise at this moment made Ishikawa very proud. However, as a teacher, the teaching of ninjutsu must be careful enough. The first ninjutsu I taught you was not offensive ninjutsu. Gong Yi, are you a little disappointed? Withdrew the hand touching the wall, Gong Yi shook his head, his eyes turned calm. No, I think it's pretty good. Compared to how to kill the enemy, the most important thing is to protect yourself first. Amount. Ishikawa bit Kiba, and his head hurt a little. This student is too smart. He began to explain to Gong Yi the function of the ninjutsu, the hand seal sequence, release timing and other points. I only joined the battlefield at the end of World War II. I have never participated in a battle that was too exciting. However, I have encountered some small-scale battlefields. Tuliubi has excellent defensive performance in this small-scale battle, and has saved my life several times. The 3-body technique is too simple. As civilian ninjas, once we enter the war period, we are likely to become cannon fodder. With the protection of the earth wall, Gong Yi's chances of surviving will be much higher. Only in this way can you have a better chance of survival. More opportunities to become stronger. Quote. When I said these words, Ishikawa's words inevitably brought some personal subjective emotions. He is also a civilian ninja, but avoided the most tragic period of the Second Ninja World War. However, some practices of the village are still kept in mind. And there is a lot of resentment. Gong Yi listened quietly, without expressing any opinion. Ishikawa sighed, and stopped talking, and instead explained the hand seal sequence of the simple C-rank ninjutsu called Tu Ryubi. As AC level ninjutsu, hand seal is not complicated, Zicho Shenhaiyu. There are 5 movements in total. If you are skilled, you can release them quickly. You participated in the actual combat training class today, and you are tired, so you should rest early. If you have any questions that you don't understand, you can ask me later. Ishikawa left, but Gong Yi did not rest. Released a recovery technique for himself, and then returned home slowly, while walking, constantly recalling the details of Ishikawa's teaching of Tu Lubi in his mind. After arriving home, Gong Yi first sat quietly for 10 minutes, then opened his eyes and walked to the open space. The delicate fingers began to flip, and in the order of Zicho Shenhaiyu, slowly hand seal. When the hand seal was over, Gong Yi was afraid of hitting the ground with a palm and gave a low voice. Doden, Earth Style, the dirt wall. Chakra poured out, the ground trembled slightly, and then a small dirt bag emerged. Fail. The corners of Gong Yi's mouth were slightly raised, and in his opinion, this was already a success. Any ninjutsu practice is accumulated bit by bit. The first time I made a small dirt bag, the next time it will be better than this. Gong Yi added a training program in addition to his daily exercise. That is the ninjutsu practice of Tu Lubi. From the initial small earth bag, to the fragile earth wall after a few days, to a solid earth wall after 10 days, everything is going according to Gong Yi, S plan. Another night, Gong Yi stood in front of a 2-meter-high wall, thoughtful. With the same ninjutsu, Ishii-sensei can release 3 walls of earth, and the protection performance is equally good. And I can only release 1. Frowning, Gong Yi stroked the wall he made. In terms of thickness and hardness, it is not weaker than the wall made by Chunin, Ishigawa. If Ishigawa continued to pay attention to Gong Yi during this period of time, maybe he would be very surprised. Even if it is a simple earth flow wall of hand seal, even if it is AC level ninjutsu, it is shocking enough that Gong Yi can become a master in just 10 days. But Gong Yi is not too complacent. The family knows their own affairs. The benefits of the recovery technique brought by the Shuiba system are not as simple as most people think. As we all know, the practice of ninjutsu requires constant consumption of chakra. And a person's chakra storage capacity is very limited. After using up, you need to spend time refining, and then you can continue to practice ninjutsu. However, the recovery technique allows Gong Yi to save this process and release the ninjutsu without interruption. If an ordinary genin can release 20 C-rank ninjutsu a day, then the number of Gong Yi is 10 times, or even 100 times more than that. It is for this reason that Gong Yi can master this ninjutsu so quickly. Of course, this sounds wonderful. It seems that Gong Yi has infinite chakra. But in fact, there is no such bug. What he saves is only the time for chakra recovery, but the overall chakra capacity has not increased. Make an analogy. Gong Yi can continuously release C-level ninjutsu through recovery techniques, and even has the opportunity to release B-level ninjutsu due to physical and mental energy. But the chakra upper limit makes it difficult for him to fully release A-level or even S-level ninjutsu. The recovery technique also takes a few minutes to carry out, but the release of a high-level ninjutsu will not give you the opportunity to pause in the middle, and then follow the hand seal after recovery. Gong Yi sighed. He probably knew the reason why he made 1 wall and Ishigawa 3 walls. He's a veteran chunin with more chakra capacity than me, it's that simple. Gong Yi bit his lip. This problem is not limited to the ninjutsu of Tuliubi. In the future, if you practice other advanced ninjutsu yourself, you should also encounter this kind of problem. So how to solve it? Directions. Gong Yi quickly found. Bloodline. Tailed beast. Sage mode. Super strong body. Chapter 10. The first research topic, the 5th update. A strong bloodline means a lot of chakra, specifically represented by the generation of Hokage, Naruto, and Sasuke. The first direction, before taking the first step, was dropped by Gong Yi Pass. He has no blood. What about the tail beast? In Gong Yi's memory, as long as there is a tailed beast in the body and becomes a human Jinchuriki column force, no one lacks chakra. Even the one-tailed Jinchuriki column force Gaara can frequently use advanced ninjutsu during the Chunin exam, and even released a large-scale ninjutsu that destroys a forest. That battle against Kimimaro, the chakra consumed, can't be held by an ordinary Jonin. For this plan, Gong Yi did not give up directly. I'm too weak at this stage to catch the tailed beast, but that doesn't mean it will not work in the future. As for the negative impact of the tailed beast's rampage, Gong Yi wasn't very afraid. In his opinion, as long as the mental power is high enough and the strength is strong enough, it is possible to tame the tailed beast. From Yue to Kyubi, 9 tails Jinchuriki column force may be able to tame tailed beasts in the later stage. Of course, the option of the tailed beast is only the future, or even a long period of time. For now, Gong Yi still has to shelve it. He set his sights on sage mode. But after thinking about it for a while, Gong Yi shook his head. From the beginning to the end of the Hokage world, there are only 3 places to practice sage mode. They are Mount Myoboku, Ryachi Cave, and Shikatsu Forest. And corresponding to these 3 holy places are toads, snakes, and slugs, 3 kinds of psychic beasts. In other words, if you want to practice sage mode, you must master psychics, and then sign a psychic contract with these 3 races. And this is just getting the ticket. Sage mode is notoriously difficult to cultivate. Even Jiraiya's Sage mode is a crippled version, and it needs two-toed immortals to absorb chakra for him. Gong Yi was helpless, so he could only give up on this, and finally set his sights on the super strong body. The extraction of chakra is through the combination of physical energy and spiritual energy. The stronger the two, the more chakra can be extracted, and the higher the upper limit. That is to say, my physical strength is strong enough. If my mental strength is high enough, I have the opportunity to have large-scale chakra. This judgment was not made by Gong Yi indiscriminately. He knew very well that such people did exist in the Hokage world. Might Guy, who was in the same class as him. Relying on day-to-day, non-stop hard training, he has a terrifying body, and he can even open 8 doors, almost kicking 6 Pavs Madara to death in 4 fights. Don't think that guy is only using physical skills, the feet behind him also contain a lot of chakra. The chakra capacity that can kill 6 Pavs Madara, you can imagine how big it is. If this example is too extreme, then the Akamichi family is worth learning from. This group loves to eat and is very fat, but when fighting, they can absorb the energy of the body and burst into a powerful battle. This is also a manifestation of a super strong body that bursts chakra. After all, Akamichi Choji lost a few battles in the next few battles, and then the example of the doubling of strength is there. After some thought, Gong Yi made a decision. Compared to the Akamichi family, he chose the path of Might Guy. Too bloated, too conspicuous, and not flexible enough to move, and without the secret techniques of the Akamichi family, how to quickly convert a body of fat into chakra is also a big problem. And Might Guy's road, he can walk completely. Isn't it just exercise? There just happens to be a system task there, Xiaoqiang who can't be killed. Gong Yi glanced at the Shuiba system, and the current progress of this task was already halfway through. According to Gong Yi's estimation, it will be completed in about a few months. But that's not Gong Yi's goal. Since I have recovery surgery in hand, I can definitely increase the amount of training, as long as I can bear the pain. Although this decision was made, Gong Yi was still not so restful when it came time to sleep. Staring at the dark roof with bright eyes, Gong Yi thought about the future development of this world. The third war should break out soon. With my age, it is very likely that I will participate in this war. Cultivation of a super strong body cannot be completed in a few days. I must add some strength to myself before that. The upper limit of chakra capacity restricts my development. Asleep, Gong Yi simply sat up. Since the upper limit cannot be raised quickly, why not try to shorten the amount of chakra required for each ninjutsu? Just when Gong Yi proposed this idea, there was a long-lost ding in his mind. The first research topic, half of the chakra required to lower the sea-level ninjutsu earth flow wall. Reward, 10 points of mastery points. Student mastery points can be used to exchange mastery skills, or upgrade current mastery skills. Equals. P.S. It's another 4-character 5-point delivery, flower evaluation tickets, go crazy. Chapter 11 Research Progress. Gong Yi values his own ninja master system, especially the master skills given by the system. A low-level recovery technique can have an excellent effect in training. Gong Yi is looking forward to it. If he has enough learning power, what kind of learning power can he gain? Of course, the acquisition of every skill is not so easy. You must complete tasks, or successfully solve research topics, in order to obtain mastery points, which can then be exchanged or upgraded to mastery skills. Gong Yi looked at the first research topic and subconsciously frowned. Reduce half of the chakra emptied by the release of the sea-level ninjutsu earth flow wall. Strictly speaking, the power of ninjutsu is solved by the amount of chakra contained. But this task is to reduce the number of chakras, but it cannot reduce the power of ninjutsu. In this way, it is not so simple. Gong Yi fell into contemplation after the initial surprise. The course of the ninja school was going on in a dull day, and in the village, there was a faint smell of wind and rain coming. Gong Yi ran to school panting, and this morning he got up early in the morning. Then he bit Kiba and completed the daily training volume of the task of killing Xiaoqiang. Gong Yi plans to do it again after school to give himself some extra training. Gong Yi subconsciously slowed down when parents sent their children to class. I heard that Lord Whitefang has resigned from the position of commander of Konoha. Now that it's peaceful, this position is useless. It's definitely not for this reason. I guess it has something to do with the failure of Lord Whitefang's last mission. What do you think about this matter? The mission failed and brought huge losses to the village. In this matter, it was Lord Whitefang who did it wrong. Gong Yi blinked, pursed his lips, glanced at them, and stepped into the school. As for the person Konoha Whitefang Hatake Tsukumo, he has not contacted, but he is very aware of the final fate of this Konoha hero. Suicide. It's that simple. But the things in the dark are very complicated. Konoha Whitefang is a Konoha war hero during World War II, and its influence is so great that it is still above Sannin. How could such a big man commit suicide because of rumors? Also, how could these rumors spread in the village without the permission of the top Konoha leaders? Gong Yi whispered softly, 3 generations of Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen. Shimura Danzo. Sarutobi Hiruzen is old, and has been in charge of Hokage for too long. I believe that 4 generations of Hokage will be selected soon. And for now, Whitefang is undoubtedly the most likely candidate to take over. But throughout the history of Konoha, the first generation does not say. The second generation is the younger brother of the first generation. The third generation is the disciple of the second generation. In the follow-up plot, the fourth generation Namikaze Minato is the apprentice of the third generation disciple Jiraiya. Fifth generation Tsunade is the granddaughter of the first generation and the apprentice of the third generation. The sixth generation of Kakashi is also the disciple of the fourth generation of Hokage Namikaze Minato. The entire Hokage position, not to mention hereditary, is definitely a representative of an interest group. Whitefang is the patriarch of the Hatake family and is outside the Hokage group. The third generation is definitely not willing to hand over the Hokage position to him. Even if the rumors in the village were not actively spread by the 3 generations, and Danzo, who coveted the position of Hokage, was secretly doing things, among them, there were definitely 3 generations of Hokage's tacit indulgence. Once the reputation of Whitefang was smeared, it became less prestigious in the village. Then, needless to say, only 3 disciples of Sarutobi Hiruzen are left to succeed the 4th generation. Konoha. Gong Yi's heart is clear, but he doesn't know what to do. With his current strength, he can't participate in these major events at all. What he needs to do now is to become stronger and stronger. After the morning class, Gong Yi left the classroom and went to the school library. To complete the first research topic, Gong Yi's current level is not enough. He needs more knowledge of ninjutsu to carry out this subject. When it was time to step into the library, Gong Yi met Kakashi. If it was a few days ago, Kakashi would take the initiative to have a few words with him, and even invite Gong Yi to go out to fight. But at the moment, Kakashi was taciturn, just nodded to Gong Yi and turned away. Gong Yi stood at the door of the library, looking at Kakashi with some sympathy. He should be worried about his father. Thinking like this, Gong Yi didn't say anything to comfort him, and he didn't have the qualifications to sympathize with others. In other words, in the hearts of many people, orphans like Gong Yi are the ones who should be sympathized with. Another month passed, and outside Gong Yi's residence, 2 identical Gong Yi were sitting on the ground, constantly releasing ninjutsu. The orthodox shadow clone technique is not too precious, and the effect is much better than that of Gong Yi's cottage. After showing the cultivation process of Tuliubi, Gong Yi learned the true technique of shadow clone from Ishigawa. With his current strength, he can only maintain a shadow clone for a long time, and he even needs a recovery technique to make up for the loss of chakra. But it was enough for Gong Yi. With this shadow clone technique, his cultivation progress has almost doubled. Feeling the flow of chakras in the body, Gong Yi recalled the knowledge gained from the school and other teachers. The division of ninjutsu levels is not only based on power. Among them, shape change and nature transformation are also very important reference points. If the master's form can be completely changed, then the ninjutsu can be classified as A-level ninjutsu. But this does not mean that only A-level ninjutsu involves morphological changes. For example, A-level ninjutsu such as Rasengan, it is just that the morphological changes have reached ultimate, and no hand seal is required. In C-level ninjutsu and B-level ninjutsu, in fact, most of the ninjutsu also contain morphological changes. Gong Yi frowned. As a result, the earthen wall ninjutsu that he is currently master should also have a form change in it. There are few, but certainly there are. But similar to this kind of low-level defensive ninjutsu, the shape change is not high. If you give up this, can you reduce the amount of chakra required? Gong Yi's eyes lit up as he looked at the square, rectangular wall he had just created. Chakra poured out of his body, and in accordance with the established hand seal sequence, Gong Yi gave a low voice. Doden, earth-style, soil wall. Hum. With a soft sound, an irregular wall of earth and stone rose from the ground, blocking Gong Yi's face. Not so regular, and even this wall is so ugly that people frown upon seeing it. But it is undeniable that its hardness and thickness are by no means inferior to those before. Feeling the amount of chakra gushing out just now, Gong Yi was determined. It's 1/5 less than before, I am doing the right thing. Equals. P.S. It's a new day again, and today is still starting at the 5th watch, and the 4D update. Also please everyone, the flower review ticket comments and rewards are also starting, let me know that I am not alone. Chapter 12 The Death of White Fang, 2nd. It was another actual combat training class. On the playground, there was a lot of shouting. Compared with the first actual combat class, the training class today is more lively. Many students have cultivated chakra, and can use the 3-body technique, some simple tactics, and can also be matched. But when Gong Yi came on, everyone held their breath. Gong Yi has shown unparalleled strength in every practical class. Has defeated Asuma, Shiranui Genma, Might Guy and others. And today his opponent is Kakashi. Known as the strongest this year, the chief student of the ninja school, he is also the son of Konoha White Fang. Kakashi has the upper hand when it comes to family origins and fame. But no one dared to underestimate Gong Yi. It's really the record of Gong Yi's previous games, which is too good. Except for the first time he played against Asuma, he used the 3-body techniques one after another. In the next few games, Gong Yi defeated his opponents with fast and sharp body techniques. Gong Yi is too powerful and too fast, and often beats his classmates before they can react. Ishikawa looked at the 2 students in front of him with a smile on his eyebrows. Kakuzu. These 2 are probably the 2 strongest students he has taught. Especially Gong Yi, he still achieved this step without any cultivation resources, which made Ishikawa very happy. And today, Gong Yi and Kakashi fight, he is also looking forward to it. Is Kakashi stronger or Gong Yi stronger? Gong Yi looked at the white-haired boy in front of him, put away his previous contempt, and showed a sense of caution. The Hatake family, famous for their sword skills. Under the sword technique, the physical technique is equally powerful. And with the guidance of Konoha White Fang, no one knows where the current Kakashi has reached. And Gong Yi is very clear. In the plot, Kakashi only stayed at the ninja school for a year, and then graduated early and went out to perform tasks. And soon to reach the level of Jonin. That is to say, Kakashi at the moment is definitely stronger than Genin, and even has the strength of Chunin. And he, not long ago, finally completed the task of killing Xiaoqiang, and his physical skills surpassed those of his peers. In terms of ninjutsu, he also completed the first research topic, and from Ishigawa, he also learned a few ninjutsu. From all perspectives, he and Kakashi should have the strength to fight. It's hard to say who wins and who loses. Kakashi's expression is also very solemn. He watched Gang Yi's battle a few times before, and he didn't get any information at all, only that Gang Yi was fast. Gang Yi's other means, he has no information. Just as the battle between the two was about to break out, someone suddenly ran into the playground and shouted Kakashi's name. "Kakashi, hurry up and come home with me." Kakashi walked over suspiciously, and the man whispered in his ear. Everyone saw it, and after a word or two of conversation between the two, Kakashi's expression changed. Before he could even say hello to Ishigawa-sensei, Kakashi ran out of school. Gang Yi frowned, and according to the time, he vaguely had an answer in his mind. The ninja who ran into the playground before explained a few words to Ishikawa and left. Ishikawa was shocked at this moment, and his mouth could not close for a long time. Gang Yi was closer to him and could only hear, he muttered to himself. How is that possible? Lord White Fang He, why is this? After school, Gang Yi ran 3 laps around the village and returned home covered in dust. 3 body skills training, physical training, 500 shuriken projections, fighting with kunai. The huge amount of training is going on all the time. Compared with a few months ago, the amount of training has almost increased by 5 times. For ordinary people, you may be too tired to lift your hands before halfway through. But Gang Yi was different. After releasing the recovery technique 3 times in a row, all the tiredness disappeared. Taking a long breath, Gang Yi took out a shadow clone and started the last one, ninjutsu training. Doden, Earth Style, Earth Flow Wall, Heart Decapitation, Rock Jinchuriki Column Gun, Swamp of the Underworld. Gang Yi's most prominent chakra attribute is the earth and the present ninjutsu, which he learned through painstaking effort. Among them, Ishigawa taught, and Ishikawa asked for it from other teachers in order to train him. In addition to Doden, Earth Style, Gang Yi has also mastered 2 sea-level ninjutsu with other attributes. They are Kaden, Fire Style, Great Fireball Jutsu, Suiten, Water Style, Water Bomb. However, the master degree is more general. Besides being familiar with these ninjutsu techniques, Gang Yi is doing another thing. Reduce the amount of chakra required for each ninjutsu by half. Gang Yi has picked up a few tricks since successfully completing his first research project. The difficulty of C-level ninjutsu is not high, and the chakra consumption is not lower than that of B-level ninjutsu. On the one hand, it is for beginners to get started as soon as possible. But as long as you think about it carefully, you can completely save some of the chakra. Of course, for now, Gang Yi has only completed 3 ninjutsu chakra reductions by half, and other ninjutsu improvements are still being planned. The moon is in the middle of the sky, Gang Yi sighed in relief after finishing his training. He used a water bomb technique on the top of his head, and water droplets fell from the sky, sweeping away the dust on his body. If I were to evaluate the ninja level now, I must have the strength of Chunin. Gang Yi pondered and thought, Kakashi should also be Chunin now, but he has no such thing as recovery art, and his proficiency in ninjutsu is definitely not as high as mine. If you fight against him, with my various ninjutsu tactics, you should be able to defeat him. It's a pity that this battle could not go on today. Gang Yi has some regrets. Since getting the Ninja Master system, he has set a short-term goal. Become the head student of this class of ninja school. He is not afraid of being in the limelight, nor is he afraid of Mushu Yulin being destroyed by the wind. In Gang Yi's view, in the Hokage world, low-key is by no means king, and high-key is the right approach. Especially for a civilian ninja like him. High-profile enough, showing super talent, can get the attention of big people, get the cultivation of the village, and get the inclination of resources. If he doesn't have any talent, maybe when he graduates, the village will only assign him an ordinary Jonin leading teacher, or even a spicy chicken like Chunin. At that time, when you go out to perform tasks, the failure rate and the possibility of death will increase infinitely. This is more than worth the loss. SY Gongyi has been building momentum for himself this year. Defeat Asuma. Defeat Shiranui Genma. Defeat Moonlight Hayate. Defeat the Uchiha tribe. Defeat the Hyuga clan. Just missing Kakashi. Gongyi is a pity, today was the best chance, only to be interrupted. As for whether there is still such an opportunity in the future, Gongyi shook his head. The next day, when Gongyi went to school, instead of running as fast as before, he slowed down. The village seemed noisy early in the morning, and countless discussions could be heard everywhere. But under the hustle and bustle was the silence of the overall Konoha executives. Konoha White Fang, Hatake Tsukumo, who was above Sanin, committed suicide at home. P.S. I don't know why, I can't comment in the book review area, I wanted to talk to you more. Explain the problem of Ushin. The village of Grass Hidden existed a long time ago. After Orochimaru defected, it was not the village of Grass Hidden, but the village of Otogakure. Chapter 13 Mission Rewards. Third More. The death of White Fang caused an uproar in the village, and there was a lot of discussion for a while. But for Gongyi, it has no effect. He still goes to school and performs basic training in his own way. If the only effect was to say that it was White Fang's death, Gongyi's classmate Kakashi, a month later, applied for an early graduation. 5 years old. Hatake Kakashi, who was only 5 years old, applied to the school for early graduation. This requirement was also approved by the teacher, and the relevant graduation assessment was soon arranged. With Kakashi's strength, he passed the mere genin test with ease. On the day of graduation, 3 generations of Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen came to the school in person. Put on the Konoha ninja forehead for Kakashi. Moonlight Hayate, Kurenai Yuhi, Asuma and others of the same age all visited Kakashi for this graduation ceremony. Gongyi also went, standing behind the crowd, looking at Kakashi's bewildered expression, his heart sighed. The suicide of his father brought a huge blow to Kakashi's spiritual level. He became sad, depressed, and even gradually lost. His father, known as White Fang, was so powerful and famous in the ninja world, why would he commit suicide at home like a coward? Even if he died on the battlefield or at the hands of a powerful enemy, Kakashi would not be puzzled. Kakashi needs an answer. And this answer, obviously, is not available in school. Hope you can find answers outside of school instead of numbing yourself with tasks. Gongyi sighed, looked away from the kindly face of Lord Hokage, shook his head, left Kakashi's graduation ceremony, and entered the library alone. For Gongyi, who is familiar with the plot, Kakashi's early graduation does not surprise him too much. But to the other students, it was extremely shocking. Especially after Kakashi passed the test without any difficulty and showed his great strength, he aroused a lot of amazement. It was at this time that some students started to discuss, after Kakashi left, who was the strongest in the school. After some discussion, everyone's attention almost fell on Gongyi. Gongyi has defeated Asuma, Hyuga Hirata, Aburame, he should be the strongest right now. Before Kakashi left, he always thought that only Gongyi was his real opponent. In fact, I don't think Gongyi is weaker than Kakashi. What nonsense are you talking about? Kakashi is the one who beat the seniors, Gongyi doesn't have those records. I think so too, Kakashi is the son of Lord White Fang after all, a genius of the Hatake clan. Gongyi is just a war orphan, how can he be compared to Kakashi? Well then, Gongyi isn't as good as Kakashi, but at least he's the strongest among us at this stage. That's okay, right? Next time in the battle class, I'm going to challenge him. Gongyi didn't take these comments to heart at all. Like challenging senior students, he is even more dismissive. As long as there is one more day to stay in the ninja school and not graduate, it belongs to the category of genin. Unless there is a guy like Yakushi Kabuto in the future who doesn't go away, other people, whether they are in 1st grade or 5th grade, are not in Gong Yi's eyes. Gong Yi's focus now is no longer on competing with these children. He focused more on acquiring some ninja knowledge. That's why he frequents the school library, the Konoha Village Library. The Ninja Master system did not give him any destructive, invincible plugins, but only gave him a possibility to become stronger. But in this possibility, he needs the support of too much basic knowledge to allow him to complete more research topics, obtain more master skills, or task rewards. Gong Yi, who clearly has more than Genin's strength and has the ability to fight as Chunin, did not graduate directly like Kakashi. The initial stage of ninja is very important. This is a period of laying foundations. What is needed is not a lot of experience in combating the enemy, but the refinement of chakra, the acquisition of ninjutsu knowledge, the exercise of physical strength, and so on. Once they graduate, they must contribute to the village and receive tasks. The mission continues, but there is not so much time to lay the foundation for you. The future, Kakashi will not be able to succeed, and only one title of Hatake will be divided into 5 or 5. Is it not the reason why his foundation is not solid? Such a small child goes out to perform tasks, walking on thin ice between life and death, even if the means of confronting the enemy are extremely rich, but the hard power is really only that. Panchi sat on the top of the tree. Gong Yi immersed himself in the system after another day of exercise. Age: 5 years old. Ninja, Chunin. Constitution: 30 points. Mental power: 35 points. Chakra basic attributes: wind, thunder, water, fire and soil, the strongest attribute, soil. Weapon: iron kunai. Mastery points: 30 points. Student mastery points can be exchanged for mastery skills, or upgrade to mastery rank. Scholar rank: level 1, up to 3 scholar skills can be possessed. Scholar skill: low-level restoration. Current research topics: 0. Completed research topics: 3. Reduce half chakra required for sea-level ninjutsu earth flow wall. Reduce half chakra required for sea-level ninjutsu heart decapitation. Reduce half chakra required for rock jinchuriki column gun. Mission: the undead Xiaoqiang mission is completed, and the reward is to be claimed. A smile appeared on Gong Yi's mouth. He completed 3 research projects in total, one of which was awarded 10 academic points, and currently has 30 academic points. Gong Yi learned about the value of learning hegemony through the system. There are many uses. You can upgrade the skills of the master, upgrade the rank of the master of the system, and even invest in the project to speed up the progress of the project research. However, Gong Yi was not used directly in the early days. Upgrading the skills of a scholar requires at least 100 scholar points. And to upgrade the academic rank, you need more. Gong Yi's plan was to upgrade his recovery technique when he accumulated a little more of his academic power. The current recovery technique can only play a good role in the auxiliary cultivation stage, but it has too many restrictions. As for the Shuiba rank, he is powerless. However, the Shuiba rank only limits the upper limit of the number of Shuiba skills. He currently does not have too many system skills, so he does not need to upgrade. He is now very interested in the reward after completing the task of unkillable Xiaoqiang. After exercising hard and finally completing this task, what reward will the system give? Chapter 14: The Second Scholar Skill. Congratulations to the host for completing the task, Xiaoqiang who can't be killed. Now the host's physique is as high as 30 points, which is higher than that of the average adult and comparable to Jonin's physique. With the support of excellent physical fitness, the host can get more support in daily research. Reward: low-level scholar skill, gravity. Gravity: in the study of a scholar's subject, it involves carrying research objects. Excessive research materials will hinder the progress of the research. Gravity can reduce or increase the research materials, so as to facilitate the host to carry out research. Addition or reduction: 100 times within. Gong Yi frowned, looking at the reward this time. thinking carefully in his heart. There is no doubt that this skill is tasteless. For ninjas with extraordinary strength and chakra, this aggravation and weight reduction skill has little effect. Moreover, Gong Yi knew the limitations of low-level academic master skills, which could only be used for himself, not for others. The recovery technique is like this, so the gravity technique should also be like this. Otherwise, this gravity technique is almost comparable to the added weight rock technique and lightweight rock technique in Doden Earth style. Of course, the weighted rock and the light and heavy rock are more changes in the density of the object, which is qualitatively different from the gravity technique rewarded by the system. Moreover, Gong Yi's current research topics do not involve too many research materials, most of which are related to his master's ninjutsu. Gong Yi let out a small yawn and thought of something. There is no doubt that the gravity technique was obtained after completing the undead Shaoqiang task, and that task was related to the improvement of physical fitness. At this stage of my exercise, it has not achieved very good results. In this way, as a continuation of gravity, it seems that it can also have an auxiliary effect on one's own physical exercise. Thinking of this, Gong Yi's eyes lit up. Weight-bearing training is an essential means for the protagonists of countless novels to exercise in the early stages. A move of his mind, Gong Yi applied the gravity technique to himself. A huge gravitational force came crashing down on this young body. However, with Gong Yi's training, it is comparable to Jonin's strong body, and it has almost no resistance, so it can't support it. Boom! Gong Yi fell from the tree and fell directly to the ground, creating a big hole in the soil. Ah! Painful howls came from far away. Gong Yi crawled out of the pit in dismay, spit out a few pieces of mud. I was negligent. Suddenly 100 times the gravity, even if it was a cage-level powerhouse, I couldn't bear it. Feeling the broken bones in his body, Gong Yi grinned at Kiba. It seems that this weight-bearing exercise has to be done little by little, first to get used to the daily exercise under doubled gravity, and then gradually increase. But this injury is not easy to handle. The next day, Gong Yi dragged himself to school with injuries. Faced with the curiosity of his classmates and teachers, Gong Yi made an excuse for accidentally falling, and then asked for leave to go to Konoha Hospital. While the medical ninja treated him for his injuries, Gong Yi endured the pain and was somewhat envious of these things. On the battlefield, powerful strength can indeed crush the enemy, but superb medical ninjutsu is also essential. Even the original Senju Hashirama died from his injuries after the battle with Uchiha Madara in the End Valley. After all, medical ninjutsu had not yet developed at that time, and with the physical strength of the first generation, it could not be completely resisted. Gong Yi had a plan in his mind. Maybe he should learn 1 or 2 medical ninjutsu, just in case. Thinking of this, Gong Yi's restrictions on recovery techniques are a little bit painful. Restoration can effectively restore physical fatigue, chakra consumption, and mental power loss, but it cannot heal wounds. I don't know what effect it will have if the recovery technique is upgraded. Because of the injury, Gong Yi rarely took a few days off, and he didn't go to the school much except for the library. The jaw-dropping workout routine is also suspended. During this time, Gong Yi simply calmed down and re-examined his training results over the past year. There is no doubt that the biggest gain is in the improvement of physical fitness, and the master of ninjutsu can be called Jonin is accumulated by him day by day, sweating countless times. Master of ninjutsu, relying on the powerful spiritual power, successfully mastered 6 or 7 Doden Earth-style ninjutsu and 2 ninjutsu with water and fire through subtle chakra control. Although they are only some common goods, for a civilian ninja, it is already the limit. The powerful body and extraordinary mental power allow Gong Yi to extract a huge amount of chakra. Coupled with the completion of several research topics, the amount of chakra required for the 3 ninjutsu techniques has been halved. It can be said that if the tactics are used properly, the Gong Yi at the moment is completely worthy of any ordinary chunin. Even in the hands of ordinary Jonin, you can take a few moves, at least life-saving is not a problem. For ordinary people, perhaps Gong Yi's strength at the moment is already the goal they have been pursuing in their entire lives. But when he thought of the Fourth Ninja War in the future, the various ninjutsus that destroyed the sky and the earth, one monster after another, Gong Yi knew that he couldn't stop. In fact, he is still very weak, very weak. Graduating early, impossible. It happens that with the gravity technique, the physical fitness can be improved to a higher level under the exercise. Of research topics, ninjutsu master will become ultimate. What Gong Yi needs is time. As long as you give him a few more years, develop steadily and accumulate strength, he will become stronger. If he catches up with the Third War, with the huge opportunity brought by the war, if he obtains enough merits, he may even have a chance to glimpse Konoha's sealed book. Narration technique, impure world reincarnation, multiple shadow clone technique, the 8 inner gates, demonic illusion. Dark walk, Mokuden, wood-style ninjutsu. Gong Yi licked the saliva from the corner of his mouth, his eyes bright. Chapter 15 Apply for early graduation, 5th update. Konoha 41 years. In the world of life, it seems like a white horse has passed through the gap. Just 3 years, Gong Yi, a once 5-year-old child, has become a boy of 1.6 meters tall. The Hokage world, perhaps because of the rich natural energy between heaven and earth, has led to the rapid growth of human beings. For example, during the Sengoku period, 4 or 5-year-old children went into battle, wielding weapons and fighting people. Like Kakashi, who graduated from ninja school at the age of 5, performing missions. Gong Yi at this moment, if placed in the original Washa, is actually in the period of 16 or 17 years old. After another day of assiduous practice, Gong Yi did not retrain, but fell asleep. The next morning, he came to the school refreshed. Gong Yi, you are here, have you eaten breakfast? I brought you sushi, I made it myself. Looking at the handsome boy walking in from the door of the classroom, Kurenai Yuhi's eyes lit up and he walked up. Facing the girl's closeness, Gong Yi frowned slightly. Since Kakashi left the school, people have been coming to challenge Gong Yi in order to compete for the title of chief student. There are contemporaneous students and seniors. Reason is simply because Kakashi saw Gong Yi as his only opponent while he was still in school. Although they have never competed, everyone knows that Gong Yi is recognized by Kakashi. Defeat Gong Yi and become the school chief. And this kind of behavior is not only voluntary by the students, but also acquiesced and even encouraged by some students' parents. Everyone knows that showing enough talent in school is called a genius. Once he graduates, he will get a lot of resources from the village to cultivate, and even enter the eyes of big people. Even if he earns a salary and becomes a disciple, it is not impossible. Namikaze Minato, who is now a little famous, is not only outstanding in the school. After going out to successfully perform a few missions, he was accepted as an apprentice by one of the Sannin, Jiraiya-sama. But after countless challenges, all the students were desperate. Gong Yi was so powerful that no matter what tactics the students used, they were easily defeated by Gong Yi. So much so that after a year, almost no one dared to challenge Gong Yi. Gong Yi was quiet for 2 years, but also annoying for 2 years. After confirming the title of chief, many young girls cast their favored eyes on him. Among them, there is the eldest lady from the Konoha demonic illusion family, Kurenai Yuhi. Gong Yi closed his slightly frowning brows and took the exquisite lunchbox from Kurenai Yuhi's hands. But he didn't open it. Yuhi, you don't have to bring me breakfast in the future. Kurenai Yuhi was stunned, and the girl's eyes flashed with Yuhi. Does Gong Yi mean that he doesn't like himself? He didn't even want to eat the breakfast he brought him. Then what is the breakfast that his Tenten brought him in the past 2 years? Pat. Tears fell suddenly. Kurenai Yuhi hurriedly lowered his head and covered himself. Just as Gong Yi was about to explain, there was a gust of wind in his ears. A fist suddenly smashed over. Gong Yi tilted his head slightly, turned his elbows, and heard a roar of pain behind him. Gong Yi turned his head and shook his head at the young man in front of him. Asuma, attacking people from behind is not an above-board act. Asuma covered his stomach and roared angrily, "Bastard, you bullied Yuhi, I want to fight you." Gong Yi's mouth curled slightly, and he asked with a half-smile, "Are you sure you want to challenge me?" As soon as these words came out, Asuma's body stiffened, and his face turned blue and white. In the classroom, the students who were attracted by the three of them also fell silent. 2 years ago, Gong Yi accepted the challenge of countless ninja school students, without a single defeat. The shot was crisp and neat, and even the last time, the shot was too heavy, and a senior who was about to graduate was severely injured. Since then, no one has dared to challenge him again. If Kakashi's chief was blown out by other people, then Gong Yi's chief title was won by him by defeating countless people. Now that 2 years have passed, no one knows what Gong Yi's strength has reached. Asuma's face was gloomy and uncertain. Ebisu whispered in his ear, "I saw him and Ishigawa-sensei fighting privately 2 days ago, very strong." Asuma hesitated, but seeing Kurenai Yuhi's delicate appearance, he bit Kiba again. "The tutor arranged by my father recently taught me 2 C-rank ninjutsu. Although each can only be used once, it will deplete the chakra, but it should be able to defeat him." Just when Asuma wanted to say something to challenge Gong Yi, the opposite Gong Yi waved his hand in disinterest. "Forget it, it's boring." Regardless of the humiliated expression on Asuma's face, Gong Yi turned back and stretched out his hand, stroking Kurenai Yuhi's hair. "Why are you crying, Yuhi? Your breakfast is my favorite." The face of Gong Yi's intimacy, Kurenai Yuhi let out a cry, then wiped away tears. "Then why? I have some things to do, so I won't come to the ninja school in the future, and of course you won't be able to bring me breakfast." Yuhi blinked curiously, "What's the matter?" Gong Yi pursed his lips and chuckled, "You'll find out later." Kurenai Yuhi nodded ignorantly, feeling the gazes of other students in the classroom, and became extremely shy. How could Gong Yi act so gentle to himself in front of so many people? Oops, embarrassed. But what is Gong Yi talking about? In the afternoon, a message came out from the teacher's office, and then all the students were shocked. Gong Yi applied for early graduation. And the school will arrange Chunin as a graduation assessment teacher. P.S. The 5th one is sent. By the way, thank you for your flowers, comments, and support. There was a sudden surge today, which really surprised me. Chapter 16, the so-called big man's attention. Generally, students from ninja schools only need to show the achievements of the 3-body technique when they graduate. Students who graduate early will arrange a showdown with genin. Whether winning or losing, as long as their fighting qualities pass the test, they can successfully graduate early. Gong Yi, why do you have to apply for Chunin as your opponent? Ishikawa looked at Gong Yi with relief and worry and blame in his eyes. Although it is said that applying for an early graduation, you do not need to defeat the assessment opponent face-to-face, you only need to show the quality of the ninja that meets the standard. But if it can be won, it must be the best. But if the opponent is an existence like Chunin, it is really too risky for an 8-year-old student. If he loses, it will undoubtedly make Gong Yi's chief title accumulated in the past 3 years, the name of genius, lost in 1 day. Even being laughed at. Such evaluations as too ambitious and without self-knowledge will hang on his head. Gong Yi put his hands on Kabuto, his expression very relaxed and calm. Teacher, do you think I can't beat Chunin with my strength? Ishikawa was stunned for a while, thinking of Gong Yi's performance over the past few years, and subconsciously shaking his head. In the first year, Gong Yi defeated many challengers in the school and won the title of chief. In the second year, Gong Yi began to practice against himself, losing more and winning less, but he still showed his excellent fighting talent. The third year, which is this year, Against Gong Yi is 1 win and 9 losses. The scary thing is that in the next few times, Gong Yi used less and less ninjutsu and fighting methods. That is almost the crushing of hard power, whether it is in terms of chakra capacity or ninjutsu master. Even in taijutsu, as an adult, he is not as strong as Gong Yi. You must know that you are also a chunin who has performed various tasks. Ishikawa bit Kiba, still feeling that Gong Yi's behavior was a bit risky. Gong Yi, you have to be clear. I'm just a teaching teacher. I have the strength of chunin, but I have performed tasks for a long time. The fighting instinct has dropped a lot. But the ninja being assessed will definitely be a veteran chunin who performs daily tasks. With rich combat experience, there are too many uncertain factors for you to fight against this kind of existence. Facing the teacher's admonition, Gong Yi did not have any impatience, and even felt warm in his heart. This is someone who is really thinking about himself. Gong Yi was silent for a while, then raised his head and looked at Ishikawa with burning eyes. Teacher, do you think I can learn more in school? Ishikawa shook his head. He even taught Gong Yi everything he knew, and there really wasn't much to teach. In the next 6 months, Gong Yi began to ask other teachers for advice. Teacher, do you think I am a commoner ninja with no background? Once I leave the ninja school, will the village assign me a strong and experienced elite jonin as the leading teacher? Ishikawa's clenched palm loosened involuntarily, appearing a little weak. Obviously, that's not possible. Ordinary civilian ninja graduates, most of the leading teachers will be chunin. Even if you are lucky enough to get jonin, it will not be a strong one. Like Kakashi, being able to follow a strong man with a name like Namikaze Minato is not just because he is a genius and is the head of the school. More because he was born in the Hitaki clan, the son of Lord White Fang. Gong Yi smiled, so I have to fully display my talent and show my strength. Let the village value myself and make myself one of the future of the village. As long as my talent is strong enough, then the big men in the village will not let go. I die easily in cruel missions. And this graduation battle is the best chance to differentiate me from other mediocre students. Ishikawa was persuaded. Looking at the confident young man in front of him, he realized once again that he really had nothing to teach him. He didn't even realize it when he showed himself and attracted the attention of the village. Was Gong Yi's reminder that he realized it later. You're right, Ishikawa said sullenly. I just hope that you don't get hurt while you perform well enough on the day of graduation. Thank you, teacher. Gong Yi suddenly said such a sentence, somewhat inexplicable. Ishikawa nodded in relief. He still cares about Gong Yi. As the sun sets in the west, the golden light smears the whole Konoha village. Walking on the street, the 3 generations wearing Hokage hats took a sip of cigarettes and released a kind smile to the villagers who greeted them. The village is getting better and better now. The 3rd generation is in a good mood, and does not feel how hard work is every day. After returning home and having dinner, the 3rd generation suddenly asked about the tutor. Hibi Senming, where, Asuma. Weebi Senming, as a small family clan who was close to the Sarutobi clan, was hired by 3 generations of Hokage as Asuma's tutor. Even his son, Ebisu, is Asuma's friend at school. Weebisan pointed to the backyard. Master Asuma is practicing ninjutsu, and he has become very hard recently. It's harder than before. 3rd generation of Hokage clicked his bong, as this child stimulated. He used to be lazy. Weebi Senming hesitated for a moment. It should be related to the students in their class who applied for early graduation. Gong Yi. Ah, Lord Hokage knows about that kid. Sandai narrowed his eyes slightly and nodded. That is a very good child, and one of the future hopes of our village. Before Gong Yi didn't know it, his efforts had brought him into the sight of some big people. P.S. Please explain, what the protagonist does is never for love and justice, nor is it about loyalty go down. Chapter 17 So-called Chunin. Second more. Early in the morning, after Gong Yi had breakfast, he hurried to the school. shuriken, kunai, bandages, all kinds of ninja props needed in the battle. After counting them all, Gong Yi patiently waited for the upcoming graduation assessment. Clatter, clatter, clatter. The crisp clogs walked on the slate, and a crisp echo sounded in the empty indoor training ground. Gong Yi opened his eyes and saw Ishikawa and several adults beside him. Konoha in the imagination, nor does Kakashi graduate when the 3 generations of Hokage come in person and present him with a ninja forehead. But Gong Yi was not disappointed. He believed that there must be many people who were secretly paying attention to this battle. You are Gong Yi. I am Iga Xuanji, the referee in charge of this assessment. This is your opponent, Saburo Hirata. Gong Yi nodded silently, focusing on Saburo Hirata. Ishikawa on the side explained in a low voice, Iga-sama is a very powerful jonin. Using him as the referee can ensure that both sides will not be fatally injured. Gong Yi hummed and felt a little relieved. From this point of view, the village's attention to him has actually been shown. Even a judge of the graduation assessment sent a powerful jonin, which shows Amadara. Little devil, I heard that you took the initiative to apply for Chunin as your assessment opponent. Just when Gong Yi looked at his opponent, Hirata Saburo looked over with disdain. You have to understand, little brat, Genin and Chunin are completely different concepts. It would be a pity if I can't hold back and make you crippled. So I advise you to give up or change to a Genin. Be your opponent. My time is precious. Gong Yi raised his eyebrows and said loudly, with Lord Iga here, I don't worry about this. On the contrary, I feel that before the battle, Hirata-senpai despised me so much, which doesn't seem to be in line with the ninja manual's emphasis on any enemy. Quote. Hirata was stunned, and for a while, he didn't know how to refute. Iga Kawaji on the side smiled slightly and waved his hand. Let's start, first not the seal of opposition. Just when the indoor training ground was stern and ready to go, the eyes of countless students and teachers in the school were also focused on here. The gifted student who occupied the title of chief for 3 years is going to play against a Chunin today. As long as you perform well, you can graduate early. This battle, in a sense, is even more eye-catching than Kakashi at the beginning. After all, Kakashi's original opponent was nothing but a Genin. Yugao, do you think Gong Yi can win? Kurenai Yuhi was holding Azuki Yugao's arm, his face extremely nervous. Azuki Yugao's eyes are also full of worry. She is also one of Gong Yi's admirers and has a secret crush on Gong Yi. After all, Gong Yi is so powerful. Usually, he goes his own way and works hard. Although he is a little withdrawn, it will also make little girls think that he is more handsome. After all, strong people can do the right thing. That's not called loneliness, that's called gaolang. Azuki Yugao whispered comfortingly, it should be possible. No one knows how far Gong Yi has grown in the past 3 years. At least we can't see through it. Kurenai Yuhi complained, why can't Gong Yi wait for us for a year to graduate together and form a team together? He should have his own plans. I heard from my mother that the situation between the ninja villages is getting more and more serious now, and the ninjas have started to fight in private, blocking each other's missions. If Gong Yi goes out on missions now, it will be very dangerous. Listening to Yuhi's concern, Azuki Yugao couldn't help but frowned. Behind them, Asuma, Moonlight Hayate and the others also muttered in a low voice. Why don't you compete directly on the playground, and put it on the indoor training ground? Are you afraid we will see Gong Yi being beaten up by Chunin? Moonlight Hayate shook his head. Part of a ninja's strength is made up of information. The battle that is exposed in front of others will reveal part of the ninja's tactics against the enemy. The school's arrangement is correct. Asuma said, Hayate, how can you help that kid Gong Yi? Your childhood sweetheart, Yugao, doesn't play with you anymore. Moonlight Hayate coughed lightly. These are two things that should not be confused. Under the countless attention, in the dull training ground, the battle is on the verge of breaking out. Little devil, accept failure. I'll let you see the gap between graduates and veteran Chunin. Harada Saburo shouted loudly, and charged directly with Kunwu in his hand. High speed. However, Gong Yi's speed is even faster. Clang. The kunai were violently connected, and sparks rubbed together. Gong Yi staggered and punched Harada Saburo's face, causing the wind to get louder. The kid is very fast, but compared to strength, how can you compare with an adult? Saburo Harada threw a fist without showing weakness and collided with Gong Yi head-on. And at the moment of the collision, Harada Saburo's complexion suddenly changed. How can it be? How can the power be so great? After 3 years of training, Gong Yi's gravity technique has increased tenfold. Combined with his own weight of 100 caddies, almost every moment is equivalent to carrying 1,000 caddies. And his power has become even more terrifying. A slight bone crack sounded, and it was just a touch, and Harada Saburo suffered a lot of injuries. While you are sick, I will kill you. Gong Yi's left leg swept across, Harada subconsciously blocked, and a huge force came, and he couldn't help groaning. He quickly stepped back and stared at Gong Yi with a gloomy face. This kid, it's not easy. Originally, I only wanted to solve him directly through physical techniques, but now it seems that more means are needed. Gong Yi is moving his wrists, and he is still under 10 times the gravity of his daily training, and his body is very heavy. However, once the limitations of gravity technique are released, his strength will skyrocket, whether it is strength or speed. At least in the stage of physical art, it is by no means weaker than the level of Jonin. Of course, this is one of his trump cards, and he won't use it so quickly. As a veteran Chunin, Saburo Harada's means, there should be many more. Gong Yi chanted silently, his eyes glowing, eager to try. Chapter 18. But so, third more. Little devil, Chunin's strength is not as simple as you think. Saburo Harada said, moving his wrist by the way. In fact, he was taking this opportunity to restore his state a little bit. Gong Yi just now, in that instant, Gong Yi's strength caught him off guard and even suffered minor injuries. It's a little guy who hasn't accepted a mission, and he doesn't understand the common sense of not letting the enemy rest. Of course Gong Yi knew this, he just did it on purpose, so that Saburo Harada could show more means. By the way, I also make a reflection of my own practice in the past few years. How strong are you in the end? Suddenly, the wind blows. The three-handed Lijian shot over, in a straight line, and went straight to Gong Yi's face. After the shuriken, Harada Saburo's movements did not stop, but quickly followed a ninjutsu. Kaiden Fire Style. Great Fireball Jutsu. A flame spewed out of Harada's mouth, and the turbulent chakra steamed the world with heat. Kid, the power of Kaiden Fire Style is not something you can handle. Saburo Harada was struggling a bit, he let out a sigh of relief, and his eyes fell on Igakawaji, the referee should have shot. Yet when he was slack, Gong Yi was not panicking. Hand seal with your fingers and tap the ground. An irregular earth wall rose from the ground, blocking all the fireballs. After that, Gong Yi looked at Saburo Harada calmly. Other party was obviously taken aback, but he couldn't help laughing at the irregular and ugly dirt wall Gong Yi made. How did you learn it? Too looby, you can't even maintain a rectangle, it's too ugly. Gong Yi didn't answer, although his earth flow wall looked ugly, but the protection was not weak at all, and the chakra needed was saved by half. He doesn't care about the so-called beauty, as long as it is practical. Gong Yi took a step towards the other side, walking slowly. Harada Saburo put away his sneer, and his face became solemn. Kaiden Fire Style, Fire Bullets. Saburo Harada quickly hand-sealed, and then threw the three-handed Ryuk again, and shut Gong Yi cunningly. In addition to that, his body moved quickly, came to Gong Yi's side, and kicked it out. This series of actions, fast and fierce, almost connected to the ultimate, and the combat level of the veteran Chunin was fully revealed. However, Gong Yi was not in a hurry. Sweden Water Style Water Bomb. A water bomb offset the oncoming fire bomb. Then the three-body technique was activated, and the stand-in technique directly blocked the shuriken, and by the way blocked Hirata Saburo's flying kick. When he reappeared, he was already on the other side of the training ground. Hirata Saburo gasped and looked at Gong Yi in surprise. How could you possibly avoid my three-hit combo? Gong Yi frowned. Is that all Chunin's strength is? Ah, what did you say? Hirata Saburo looked at him in surprise, then his face turned blue, and he was actually underestimated by a kid who had not graduated yet. Gong Yi shook his head and said to himself, the speed is too slow, the physical skills are too weak, the ninjutsu release is unreasonable, the shuriken is poor, and even the most basic mental qualities of a ninja are not qualified. If this is Chunin, then I'm so disappointed. Forget it, get rid of you quickly. Hey, bastard, do you know what you're talking about? I just didn't hit you hard enough to hurt you. Gong Yi didn't listen to his words to slap the swollen face and make a fat man. He moved his feet and rushed over, the kuwu in his hands was cold. Melee, close combat again, his strength is too strong, I can't come into direct contact with him. Gong Yi leaned against the field, swept across with one leg, and hit the opponent. But it feels like it's fake, clone technique. Gong Yi swung to the right, and a six-handed Lijian burst out. Duh, duh, duh. On each of the three pieces of wood, a shuriken was inserted, accurate. Hirata appeared to the side, his eyelids blinked wildly, and cold sweat was already flowing down. If I hit a little slower, I'd probably be dead. Fortunately. Doden, Earth-style, rock Jinchuriki, column gun. A row of spurs suddenly sprang from the ground. Hirata was shocked and jumped into the air, but a stern face appeared in his sight. Boom. A heavy punch, with terrifying power, slammed into Hirata's abdomen, smashing him directly to the ground. And on the ground, a row of rock Jinchuriki column guns awaits him. If this is a battlefield, then Hirata Saburo will die soon. But this was just a graduation assessment for an 8-year-old boy, and the mighty Jonin stood aside to protect him. A figure flashed by, and Igagawa appeared in the air and hugged Saburo Hirata. His pupils shrank, and the huge power on Hirata was still leading him down. Igakawaji bit Kiba, kicked Hirata into the sky with one foot, and then hand-sealed with both hands. Doden, Earth-style, swamp of the underworld. All the thorns on the ground melted and turned into a swamp of ooze. Igakawaji fell to the ground in a slightly embarrassed manner, and then quickly released the spell to prevent himself from sinking in. He was fine, but Saburo Hirata was not feeling very well before. Although he avoided being pierced to death by Iwa Jinchuriki, column gun, Gong Yi's punch, coupled with Jonin Iga's kick, almost wounded his stomach and back, and made a dull thud when he fell to the floor. Then, unconscious. Gong Yi stood aside with a calm and indifferent expression, and he couldn't see the turbulent movement he just made. Igakawaji gave him a deep look, and then handed Genin's ninja forehead to Gong Yi. Gong Yi, congratulations, you have become a Genin, you can graduate early. Then, Igakawaji walked out of the indoor training ground with Saburo Hirata in a coma. The door opened and the dazzling sunlight came in. A group of students waiting outside watched this scene expectantly. However, when they saw the unconscious ninja that Igakawaji was carrying, everyone was stunned. Igakawaji squeezed out a smile and announced to everyone. Your classmate is great, he has successfully passed the graduation examination. After speaking, he carried the person in his hand, jumped a few times, and disappeared into the village. And a group of students in the school were silent, and it took a long time to hear the sound of swallowing saliva. Gong Yi, he knocked Chunin out. After these words, the school instantly boiled. Blood. There is blood on the ground, that Chunin was seriously injured by Gong Yi's beating. Didn't you say that with the powerful Jonin watching, there won't be any injuries in the graduation assessment? Gong Yi is so terrifying. He even hurt his opponent under Jonin's eyes. Fortunately, I didn't challenge him a few days ago. I thought I had become stronger than him 3 years later. Gong Yi nodded to Ishikawa, put on Genin's ninja forehead, and walked out of the indoor training ground step by step. Wherever he went, whether it was a student older than him or a freshman, he gave way. Countless gazes ranged from shock, admiration, to fear, and even fanatical worship in the eyes of some children and girls. Gong Yi breathed a sigh of relief. Next, he was looking forward to his first team. What teammates and captains will Master Hokage arrange for him? Chapter 19 Grab Someone. The Konoha Office Building, a building standing directly opposite Hokage Rock. On the surface, this is where the Hokage offices, consultant offices, and various Konoha top executives are housed. But in fact, there are layers of Anbu belonging to Hokage. And underground, it is even more accessible, with Konoha's darkest troops, the Roots. The Root Force, under the command of Danzo, does not listen to anyone. All ninjas are brainwashed once they join the Root Force. By comparison, Anbu is much better. For example, Kakashi, Uchiha Itachi, and even Uchiha Shisui in the original work have joined Anbu. It can be said that those who can join Anbu are the most trusted ninjas of Hokage in all dynasties. At this time, the top leader of Konoha, the third generation of Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen, was sitting in Hokage's office, carefully reviewing a person's personal information. Gong Yi, brought back by Chunin Kinoshita Ryoshin from the village of Grass Hidden during the skirmish. War orphans, raised in an orphanage, and then entered a ninja school to receive ninja knowledge. During the school period, he performed extremely well, and he was no match for anyone except Kakashi. Trained hard, had a taciturn personality, and didn't have any friends at school except for a few girls. All the teachers in the class gave the highest praise to Gong Yi. He is humble, eager to learn, and respects his elders. Call. Sarutobi Hiruzen exhaled a puff of smoke, and his cloudy eyes showed that this man was gradually approaching his old age. This kid, the first time he noticed him, was in Asuma's battle training class. At that time, Gong Yi showed his talent as a penultimate, and even easily defeated his youngest son. After that, he sent someone to pay attention to the child secretly, and was shocked by the intensity of his training. Perhaps it is because of suffering and war that you know the importance of strength to yourself. Sarutobi Hiruzen paused in his heart. He was originally thinking of transferring Gong Yi to Anbu. Gong Yi becomes stronger in the future, he can better assist the next generation of Hokage. But Gong Yi's fanatical pursuit of strength made Sarutobi Hiruzen hesitate. Will a person who pursues strength wholeheartedly take into account the village's fetters on him? Sarutobi Hiruzen wasn't sure, so he hesitated. Boom! The door was pushed open, and a familiar old friend walked in on crutches. Smiled, Danzo, why did you come to see me if you didn't recover well? During World War II, Danzo broke out of a mission, was severely wounded, and was rarely seen in the village. Even many villagers do not know that there is a Danzo in the high-level Konoha. Shimura Danzo leaned on crutches and said straight to the point. I heard that this ninja school has a genius who graduated early. I didn't want to get involved. But that kid named Gong Yi defeated a Chunin and passed the graduation exam. He's another war orphan. Having said that, Shimura Danzo paused. I think this kind of unstable factor for the village necessitates training at the roots. 3 generations frowned. Training at the roots, brainwashing. Danzo said bluntly, that's right. The brows of the 3rd generation are getting tighter and tighter, and there is a chance that the Sichuan character pattern is all over the forehead. Every genius who comes out of the ninja school is the hope of the village. Brainwashing training at the root will destroy the talent of the genius. I don't agree. Danzo's face was instantly gloomy, and he was a person who was not good at hiding his emotions. Even after the injury, Danzo became more paranoid. Hiruzen, you stopped me from recruiting Gong Yi. Are you trying to transfer him into your Anbu? Sandai shook his head, No, I think he should join a normal mission team and build friendships and bonds with his fellow villagers. At this moment, the three generations made a decision. Gong Yi's attitude towards the village still needs to be investigated, and it is not suitable for Anbu to be exposed to too many secrets of the village. But at the same time, he cannot be allowed to become Danzo's subordinate. The root is already strong enough. If there are more talents, Anbu will not be able to suppress the root. Shimura Danzo snorted coldly and turned to leave. He is a proud person, even in front of his friend Hokage 3 generations, he will never open his mouth a second time. Danzo narrowed his eyes as he left Hokage's office. Gong Yi, a war orphan who can't even have a surname, he can be the hope of the village. Only me, Shimura Danzo, is the hope of the village. Hiruzen, you are old, after you go down, I will be Hokage, by then, Gong Yi will naturally become my subordinate. Seeing the back of Danzo walking away on crutches, Sandemu sighed. His eyes fell on Gong Yi's profile again. Good at Doden Earth-style ninjutsu. Press the bell on the table, and soon, a man walks in. Kawaji, you've been away from Anbu for a while, are you interested in taking a team on a mission? Chapter 20 Squad members, 5th more. The sky was slightly bright, and the morning light slowly covered the earth. Today will be a sunny day. Gong Yi counted his few ninja tools, but he quickly browsed the Shuiba system in his heart. He was already familiar with the too detailed information, and focused on the column of physique. After 3 years of gravity technique, his physique once soared to 50 points, almost reaching the limit of ordinary people at this stage. Even a ninja, if not at the level of Jonin, is difficult to compare with him. Particular, Gong Yi's weight-bearing training is completely different from the weight-bearing training of ordinary people. Gravity surgery covers the whole body, exercising every part, including the brain, and even the vulnerable parts of the lower body. This is also the reason why it took Gong Yi 3 years to increase the training multiplier of gravity technique to 10 times. It's not that he is slow, but that he knows that no part can be a shortcoming. A method like tying a lead block can only work on the legs and hands. It's too one-sided and completely incomparable to gravity. So, he added the multiplier step by step. Gong Yi thought for a moment and made a decision. 10 times the gravity technique is no longer enough for daily training, and you can add more weight. This time, it will be 11 times. Adjusted the multiplier for Gong Yi under the system's judgment. In an instant, a weight of 1,100 pounds shrouded Gong Yi. Don't look at this weight. For ninjas, it is very general, and even some Chunin burst chakras can be lifted. But Gong Yi treats it as a daily training, maintaining it all the time, including sleeping. At this time, if Gong Yi lifted the gravity technique and exploded with all his power, the destructive power would be unimaginably terrifying. Gong Yi moved his body, a little uncomfortable, but felt familiar. In the past 3 years, every time the number is doubled, there will be this strange feeling. So unfamiliar that he was already familiar with it. Step forward, Gong Yi trotted towards the forest behind Hokage Rock, and he was about to meet his first team. Quiet forest, are sitting or standing 3 people, old and young. The older one is already in his 20s, and the younger one is only 12 years old. But the age of 12 is not too young for the ninja world, which means that it has been 2 or 3 years since he graduated from the ninja school. The tasks performed, at least 4 or 5 times, can be regarded as an experienced genin. They are waiting. Glanced at the jonin who was sitting quietly, grinned, and spread his hands to his companion Hyuga Kionzong. If his teammates usually made them wait so long, he would have complained long ago. But somehow, in the face of today's leader, he didn't even dare to say a few more words. Hyuga Chizong shook his head, motioning for him to be quiet. But after a moment, he nodded again. Ogawara's heart moved, that kid finally came. Gong Yi ran to the gathering place with even breathing, and found that 3 teammates were already waiting for him, slightly apologetic. But before he spoke, the Jonin who was sitting quietly stood up. Gong Yi, we meet again. It's you, Iga-sama. Gong Yi looked at the man with a stiff smile in front of him, a little surprised. Isn't this the Jonin who served as the referee during his graduation assessment? According to Ishikawa, Hokage was specially sent here, and he was a very powerful being. Just when Gong Yi was surprised, Ogawara, who had been patient for a long time, jumped over. You know Iga-sama before. Gong Yi's heart moved, and from this short sentence, he quickly analyzed it. If the young man in front of him is the leader of the team, then he should not use the honorific title of adult. In other words, Ogawara was not familiar with Igagawaji. But an existence who has cultivated to the level of Jonin is also a famous person in the village. This teammate is a few years older than him, and he should have performed several missions, so he should not be unfamiliar with Igagawaji. There seems to be only one reason for this. Gong Yi looked at Iga-Shuanji, this man must have come from that place. It's like when Kakashi left Anbu and coached the 7th class. Okay, everyone is here. Although I have seen your information, I am not familiar with it. I think you are not familiar with my captain, so why don't you introduce yourself? Igakawaji clapped his hands and gave a stiff smile. Regarding the process of self-introduction, the other two teenagers, who seemed to have gone through it many times, spoke calmly at this moment. I'll come first. My name is Ogawara, my favorite thing is sushi. I'm good at all kinds of ninja tools, including detonating charms, trap arrangements, etc., and also simple medical ninjutsu. Ogawara patted his chest and said proudly, although it is a simple medical ninjutsu, if you have a little wound, I can still solve it for you. After speaking, he patted his companion beside him. Thousands are coming to you. Name, Hyuga Chizong. Hobby, being alone. Good at physique, reconnaissance. Very simple, even concise self-introduction. Gong Yi gave him a few more glances. People of the Hyuga family. No wonder he is good at physique and reconnaissance. I don't know if it's the main clan or a split. However, children who want to come to main clan will not be sent out to perform dangerous tasks, so they should be children who are not valued by the family. When it was his turn, Gong Yi was not stage fright. Gong Yi likes to eat meat, likes all kinds of meat. Good at taijutsu, Doden earth-style ninjutsu. Just after Gong Yi said these words, Ogawara, who heard his name, suddenly shouted. You are the head student of the school rumored in the village. Do you know that guy Kakashi?